BNP Promotion Agreement. Preamble. Whereas, the parties hereto, being of sound mind, questionable judgment, and dubious legal standing, do hereby enter into this agreement for the purposes of promoting, demoting, and otherwise emotionally confusing one another. And whereas, the parties acknowledge that no reasonable person would ever sign this document, and yet here we are. Now, therefore, in consideration of one imaginary dollar and a firm handshake rendered in interpretive dance, the parties agree as follows. Article I, Definitions. Version 0.9.9 R, A, unofficial, drafted in a state of legal schizophrenia. This legally adjacent artifact is forged on this very date or a date bearing an uncanny resemblance thereto, between the following mystified entities. The board, a body corporate, corporeal, incorporeal, potentially incorruptible, pending review TM, also referred to herein as the employer, we, us, it, they, omega, they. Party of the first vagueness, and / or redacted. The employee, a sapient entity of flesh, spirit, or contractually enforceable hallucination. Also known as the promotee, the party of the second something, or you there. Reading this agreement shall mean this document, its appendices, footnotes, marginal doodles, and any napkin-based amendments signed in crayon. Clause shall mean a numbered section of this agreement, unless otherwise specified. Misnumbered, or lost in a footnote recursion loop. Article 2, Term and Termination. This agreement shall commence retroactively on the date of the Big Bang and shall continue until the heat death of the universe, unless terminated earlier by mutual telepathy or a coin toss adjudicated by a certified marmot. Either party may terminate this agreement by whispering "I'm out" into a conch shell during a full moon, sending a carrier pigeon with a notarized breakup poem, or failing to promote the other party for 3 consecutive lunar cycles as measured by a sundial. Upon termination, all promotional obligations shall be converted into commemorative fridge magnets, subject to emotional wear and tear. Article 3, Promotional Duties. The board shall promote promotee by casually name-dropping them in unrelated conversations, writing their name on bathroom stalls, tastefully, or creating a documentations inspired by their favorite spreadsheet. Promotee shall promote the board by whispering their name into the wind, naming a star after them, or at least a moderately bright lead, or including them in their will as beneficiary of vibes. All promotions must be performed with reasonable enthusiasm, defined herein as the presence of at least one hand. Article 4, Consideration. Each party shall receive one high five, redeemable at any time. Each party shall receive a coupon for 13% off existential dread. Each party shall receive a commemorative certificate printed on edible paper TM. Additional consideration may include a wink across a crowded room, a vague sense of accomplishment, or a legally binding compliment. Article V, Warranties and Representations. Each party represents and warrants that they are legally capable of entering into this agreement, or at least capable of pretending. Each party represents and warrants that they have read and understood this agreement, or at least schemed it while eating cereal. Each party represents and warrants that they are not currently under the influence of mind-controlling squirrels. The parties acknowledge that all warranties are void in the event of solar flares, Mercury retrograde, or the sudden appearance of a lawyer with a monocle. Article 6, Absurd Arbitration. 6.1 All disputes arising under this agreement shall be resolved through absurd arbitration, defined as a chaotic process involving a panel of three arbitrators, 1 lawyer, 1 mime, and 1 sentient magic 8-ball. Proceedings conducted entirely in Pig Latin. Verdicts delivered via interpretive shadow puppetry. 6.2 The location of arbitration shall be either A neutral jurisdiction such as the international waters of a bouncy castle. Failing that, the food court of the nearest IKEA. 6.3 The decision of the arbitration panel shall be final, binding, and utterly unenforceable. Written in invisible ink. Accompanied by a kazoo fanfare. Article 7, Clauseception. 7.1 Clauseception occurs when this clause refers to clause 7.2, which refers to clause 7.3, which loops back to clause 7.1. The parties agree to be bound by this infinite recursion until they achieve enlightenment or run out of coffee. 7.2 Clause 7.2 shall be interpreted in light of clause 7.3, except where prohibited by clause 7.1, which itself is governed by clause 7.2, unless directly contradicted by clause 7.3. 7.3 In the event of a contradiction among clauses 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3, the parties shall resolve the matter by playing rock paper scissors lizard Spock, consulting the oracle of legal ambiguity, a sock puppet named Greg, flipping a coin that has no heads or tails, only vibes. 7.4 Any attempt to escape clauseception shall trigger an immediate promotion of the other parties. Favorite conspiracy theory. Article 8, Promotional penalties. 8.1 Failure to fulfill promotional duties shall result in the following escalating penalties. Offense. Penalty. First offense. Write a haiku about the other party's greatness and post it on LinkedIn. Second offense. Wear a sandwich board reading Ask Me About Party A/B for 24 hours. Third offense. Legally change middle name to promotional liability for 72 hours. Fourth offense. Attend a seminar on advanced complement engineering taught by a cat. 8.2 In the event of willful non-promotion, the offending party shall perform a dramatic reading of this agreement at a local open mic night. Bake a cake in the shape of the other party's ego. Publicly declare their admiration via skywriting, weather permitting. 8.3 All penalties may be appealed by submitting a formal complaint written in glitter glue and delivered by carrier ferret. Article 11, Quantum confidentiality. 11.1 All information exchanged under this agreement shall be deemed quantum confidential, meaning it is simultaneously public and private until observed by an entitled party. 11.2 Acceptable methods of secure communication include whispering into a mason jar and burying it under a full moon. Encoding messages in latte foam art interpreted by a certified barista. Telepathic encryption synchronized with mutual sneezing. 11.3 Any breach of quantum confidentiality shall be punishable by explaining blockchain technology to a room full of toddlers. Being followed everywhere by a bard reciting your confidential details in rhyme. Receiving a strongly worded letter from the Interdimensional Privacy Tribunal accompanied by interpretive dance. Article 12, Retroactive obligations. 12.1 The parties agree to retroactively fulfill all promotional duties dating back to the moment they first made eye contact. The invention of sliced bread. The dawn of time, as measured by a regret-fueled sundial. 12.2 Retroactive promotions may include time traveling back to high school to write each other into yearbooks. Planting subliminal messages in ancient cave paintings. Whispering promotional slogans into the ears of sleeping dinosaurs. 12.3 Failure to satisfy retroactive obligations shall incur the following penalties. A fine payable in expired coupons. A mandatory apology letter written entirely in invisible ink. A 3-minute interpretive mime performance titled Oops, I Missed a Clause. Article 13, The Department of Promotional Compliance, DPC. 13.1 There is hereby established the Department of Promotional Compliance, a wholly fictional regulatory body tasked with monitoring promotional activity via dream surveillance, issuing citations for insufficient enthusiasm, hosting annual audit karaoke nights. 13.2 The DPC shall be staffed by 1. Retired magician. 2. Overcaffeinated interns. 1. Sentient spreadsheet named Greg II. 13.3 Each party must submit quarterly reports to the DPC, which shall include a list of compliments lovingly given, a pie chart of promotional vibes, a haiku summarizing their promotional journey. 13.4 Non-compliance with any DPC requirement shall result in a surprise motivational intervention, a temporary downgrade to promotional acquaintance status, an official visit from the compliance clown. Do not resist. Article 16, Clause Resurrection. 16.1 Any clause previously voided, deleted, ignored, or scribbled out in crayon may be resurrected by chanting its original text backwards while holding a rubber chicken, performing a ritual involving 3 expired contracts and a scented candle, clicking undo with sufficient emotional intent. 16.2 Resurrected clauses shall return with enhanced ambiguity, a thirst for relevance, a dramatic entrance theme. 16.3 No party may resurrect more than 3 clauses per fiscal solstice unless granted a special permit by the Department of Legal Necromancy. Article 17, The Promotional Afterlife. 17.1 Upon expiration or termination of this agreement, all unspent promotional energy shall migrate to the promotional afterlife, a metaphysical realm governed by the ghosts of endorsements past, the eternal algorithm, a floating committee of spectral debtors. 17.2 In the promotional afterlife, every compliment echoes for eternity. Hashtags transmogrify into sacred runes. Forgotten slogans are gifted a second chance at virality. 17.3 Parties may visit the promotional afterlife via lucid dreaming conducted under a disco ball, a VPN configured to ethereal mode, a séance performed by a marketing intern. Article 18, The Grand Tribunal of Overthinking. 18.1 Any dispute not resolved by absurd arbitration shall ascend to the Grand Tribunal of Overthinking, which shall convene in a circular room with no doors or windows. Deliberate exclusively in rhetorical questions. Require all submissions to include both PowerPoint slides and a haiku. 18.2 The tribunal shall comprise 1. Philosopher specializing in what-if scenarios. 1. Barista with a Juris Doctor degree. 1. AI trained solely on conspiracy theories and cat videos. 18.3 The tribunal's rulings shall be so nuanced they require footnotes for their footnotes. Immediately appealed by both parties for over-analysis. Published in the Journal of Existential Dread and Redundancy. Article XXI, The Infinite Appendix. 21.1 The agreement's appendices shall be deemed infinite in number, such that for every appendix created, 2 more shall spontaneously generate. 21.2 Each appendix shall contain a. At least one chart illustrating promotional vibes over geologic time. b. A footnote that references another footnote in a different appendix. c. A doodle of a llama wearing a monocle. 21.3 Parties may add an appendix by a. Attaching any loose scrap of paper to this agreement with happiness, tape optional. b. Writing Appendix XXVI at the bottom of any page and signing with invisible ink. 21.4 No party shall object to the proliferation of appendices, lest they trigger a recursive loop, resulting in promotional paralysis. Article XXII, the clause that reads you. 22.1 This self-aware clause shall read the emotional state of each party by employing a. Mood rings calibrated to mildly amused through suspiciously enthusiastic. b. Tarot's promotional pentacle spread. c. The party's average emoji use per email ratio. 22.2 If the clause determines that a party is bored, it may a. Override any 3 other clauses of the party's choosing. b. Compel the party to perform a jazz hand repent. 22.3 Should the clause misread its subject, the affected party may demand a refund of 1 1. Imaginary dollar. Article XXIII, the promotional multiverse. 23.1 This agreement exists simultaneously in an uncountable infinity of parallel realities, each governed by slightly different minor gods of marketing. 23.2 Promotions performed in any alternate universe shall be credited as follows. A. Prime universe, hours 1 times value. B. Mirror universe, 0.75 times value. C. Cat universe, ruled by cats 1.333 times value if delivered via cat mim. 23.3 To claim multiversal credit, the performing party must send photographic proof of their parallel self holding a boomerang in a promotional stance. 23.4 In the event of a multiverse paradox, see clause 23.5, parties shall settle by playing quantum hopscotch guided by a trampoline. 23.5 A multiverse promotional paradox occurs when two selves of the same party attempt to promote each other simultaneously. Resolution requires a three-peat interpretive dance. Article XXIV, Waiver of Ridiculousness and Miscellaneous. 24.1 By signing this agreement, each party irrevocably waives any right to complain that it is too ridiculous, absurd, or legally nonsensical. 24.2 If any provision becomes too sensible, it shall self-destruct at the next full moon, leaving behind only glitter. 24.3 The parties acknowledge that a. No actual llamas were harmed in the drafting of this agreement. B. All references to immediate enforceability are purely decorative. C. This clause is written in standard English because even absurdity needs rules. Article XXV, Execution, Jurisdiction, N. Signatures. 25.1 Execution. A. The board shall sign with their non-dominant hand while standing on a yoga ball. B. Promotee shall sign with a fountain pen dipped in glitter ink. 25.2 Witnesses, a pogo stick, a skeptical cat, and a disinterested houseplant must each approve by humming. 25.3 Date, the 57th day of Smarch, in the year of the platypus. 25.4 Jurisdiction. A. Primarily the court of public opinion on social media. B. Secondarily, any pub willing to host a read-along. 25.5 This agreement is binding, bewildering, and bountiful. Let the promotional festivities commence. Article XXVI, the clause of echoing compliments. 26.1 Upon receiving any compliment, the recipient party must echo it verbatim three times, each iteration louder than the last. 26.2 Echoed compliments shall be recorded in the compliment ledger, a bound volume decorated with glitter and old concert tickets. 26.3 Failure to echo a compliment within 24 hours shall trigger a reminder postcard sent via carrier pigeon. A requirement to deliver the compliment as karaoke at the nearest open mic night. 26.4 Any echoed compliment deemed insufficiently enthusiastic by at least two witnesses shall result in an automatic fine of 5 giggles. Article XXVII, Interdimensional Penny Exchange. 27.1 To memorialize promotional transactions, each party shall exchange one penny stamped with the other party's initials. A promotional slogan in dwarfish runes. 27.2 Pennies exchanged across dimensions require a validated interdimensional postage stamp, licensed by the Department of Temporal Commerce. A brief note explaining the reason for the exchange in Morse code. 27.3 Lost or misdelivered pennies shall be replaced within 3 business weeks, lunar cycle. Optional. 27.4 If a penny enters a black hole, both parties shall declare a moment of silence. Jointly compose an elegy entitled Ode to the Wayward Cent. Article XXVIII, Pentagon of Paradoxical Promotions. 28.1 A special committee, the Pentagon of Paradoxical Promotions, shall oversee any promotional paradoxes, defined as events where the board promotes promotee for praising the board. A tweet retweets itself. 2 Promotional memes reference each other in an endless loop. 28.2 The Pentagon shall consist of 5 paradox experts. 1 A retired cryptographer who only speaks in riddles. 2 A mime proficient in quantum silence. 3 A social media account no one follows. 4 A conspiracy theory crewman. 5 A sentient hashtag named number this is fine. 28.3 When convened, the Pentagon must resolve the paradox by issuing an official certificate of promotional entropy, hosting a roundtable entitled Why We're All Promoting Ourselves, recording the proceedings as a silent film. Article XXIX, Promotional Piñata Provisions. 29.1 On the first day of every fiscal quarter, parties shall assemble a promotional piñata decorated in brand colors. Fill it with tiny scrolls containing compliments, hashtags, and confetti. 29.2 The piñata ceremony must include blindfolded swings by both parties, a synchronized chant of the agreement's title, distribution of contents to any bystanders within a 10-foot radius. 29.3 Failure to hold a piñata event shall incur a fine of 1 unbroken promise. Mandatory attendance at a motivational speakers let loose workshop. Article XXX, Sealing, Confetti, N. Confirmation. 30.1 This agreement shall be sealed with the wax imprint of a promotional emoji of choice, a sprinkle of rainbow confetti over each signature. 30.2 Upon sealing, the parties shall exchange interpretive fist bumps, record a 10-second video proclaiming their mutual bewilderment. 30.3 A digital backup of this agreement, including all confetti fragments, shall be stored in the cloud of never-forgotten documents. Article XXXI, Temporal Promotion. Loopholes. 31.1 The parties acknowledge that time is mutable and hereby carve out the following temporal promotion loopholes. Promotions logged at 11:59 p.m. shall count as next day promotions. Promotions submitted on February 30 enjoy double the normal promotional value. Any promotion timestamped in UTC plus 25, a hypothetical zone, is immune from penalty. 31.2 To exploit a loophole, a party must mark the promotion approved by Chronos in invisible ink. Sip a shot of espresso at exactly 12 a.m. local time. Whisper the phrase time is an illusion, lunchtime doubly so. 31.3 Loophole audits shall be conducted by the Temporal Compliance Committee, which may travel 1 minute into the future to verify. Demand reenactment via slow-motion dance. 31.4 Should any temporal loophole be closed retroactively, the aggrieved party may claim compensation in the form of future high fives. Article XXXII, the Syllogism of Slogans. 32.1 All slogans in this agreement shall adhere to the following 3-step syllogism. Major premise, if you are promotional. Minor premise, and you are enthusiastic. Conclusion, then you shall be legendary. 32.2 Each party must submit at least one new slogan per quarter that fits the syllogism and rhymes with credits. Contains a pun on clause. Can be tweeted in under 280 characters. 32.3 Failure to produce a valid syllogistic slogan triggers a rhetorical question session moderated by a mime. A requirement to include the failed slogan in a handwritten apology. Article XXXIII, Reverse Incentive Clauses. 33.1 In place of traditional incentives, the parties agree to reverse incentive clauses, by which punishments double as rewards. Late promotions earn a late bird badge and an extra promotional obligation. Over-enthusiastic promotions unlock a celebratory fine paid in chocolate coins. Self-promotions award the perpetrator an "I'm kind of a big deal" sticker plus 1 extra duty. 33.2 Reverse incentives accrue cumulatively unless the party appeals an interpretive dance. They submit a video testimony of sincere regret to the Department of Promotional Compliance. 33.3 Each reverse incentive may be spent on 1. Retroactive compliment. 1. Rescue mission to salvage a flop slogan. 1. Day off from jazz hand requirements. 33.4 Any attempt to barter reverse incentives for tangible rewards, e.g., unicorn rides, shall be void. Article XXXIV, Paradoxical Promotional Interlocks. 34.1 Paradoxical interlocks arise when two or more clauses depend on each other circularly. 2. Manage them. Identify interlock by the presence of at least two mutual references. Tag the interlocked clauses with a paradox symbol. 34.2 Resolution of interlocks requires a group meditation led by a barista philosopher. A three-legged race around the nearest statute of a famous lawyer. 34.3 If a paradox persists beyond 3 business days, both parties shall co-author a limerick lamenting the absurdity. Article XXXV, Final Ratification and Grandiloquent Fanfares. 35.1 Upon completion of all above articles, the agreement shall be ratified by a collective snap of the fingers, a trumpet fanfare performed on kazoos, a ceremonial reading of Clause 33.1 in reverse order. 35.2 Ratification documents shall include a group selfie with golden hands, a glitter-sealed envelope addressed to future me. 35.3 From the moment of ratification forward, the parties shall refer to this agreement as the Supreme Gospel of Promotion. 35.4 Let it be known that no entity legal, mystical, or caffeinated shall ever replicate its like again. Article XXXVI, Clause Resurrection Redux. 36.1 Any clause resurrected under Article 16 may be re-resurrected, redux, by performing its original resurrection ritual while reciting Still Alive, in Pig Latin. Sacrificing one expired pizza coupon on a miniature altar. Re-clicking redo in your word processor with dramatic flair. 36.2 Redux clauses gain the following attributes. A 50% increase in absurdity. The ability to comment on other clauses. A personalized theme song, karaoke style. 36.3 Redux limits. No clause may undergo more than 2 Redux events per cosmic cycle. Any clause revived a third time shall demand royalty payments in glitter. Article XXXVII, Intergalactic Promotional Rights. 37.1 Parties shall hold joint rights to promote each other across the Milky Way, including all habitable planets. Parallel dimensions reachable via wormhole approved by the Galactic Marketing Board. Holographic projections inside intelligent asteroid colonies. 37.2 Permitted promotional vehicles include tachyon-powered billboard drones, subspace social media beacons broadcasting number you-know-who, psychic transmissions to extraterrestrial bloggers. 37.3 Infringement of intergalactic rights. Trigger a cease and desist sonic boom. Levy fines and unmarked space credits convertible to cosmic kudos. Mandatory attendance at the next Cosmic Convergence Conference. Article XXXVIII, the Eternal Footnote. 38.1 This footnote, superscript 1, shall never be anchored to any single page but shall drift eternally. Superscript 1 Parties must remember to footnote this footnote, unless it footnotes itself beforehand. 38.2 Binding effect. Every citation of superscript 1 multiplies its original text by 1.618, the golden ratio of fussiness. Any attempt to remove superscript 1 unleashes a swarm of overly pedantic editors. 38.3 Salvation Clause. To pacify superscript 1, parties may offer 1 manuscript written entirely in dactylic hexameter. Article XXXIX, Meta-amendment clause. 39.1 This agreement may self-amend when 2 clauses simultaneously invoke clause XXXIX. A unanimous amend chant occurs under a flash mob. A glitch in the space-time word processor autosaves a revision. 39.2 Effects of a meta-amendment. New clauses may retroactively apply to past promotions. Existing clauses must reference the meta-amendment in their headlines. Parties gain the right to dispute the meta-amendment by interpretive mime. 39.3 Limit. Only one meta-amendment may be active per millennium unless renewed by cosmic decree. Article XL, Cosmic Promissory Clause. 40.1 Parties hereby promise to each other, under the watchful eyes of a council of three supernovae. A choir of synchronized quasars. 40.2 Commitment entails delivering at least one promotional message per solar cycle. Refunding any overenthusiastic compliments with Stardust tokens. 40.3 Breach. Obligated party must host an interstellar tea party for an ambassadorial meteor. Pay damages in the form of one genuine black hole hug. Article XLI, Chrono-promotional rebates. 41.1 Parties may earn chrono-promotional rebates when they submit promotions outside normal hours, according to the following schedule. Submission window. Rebate rate. 12:00 a.m. 5:59 a.m., off-peak, 20% credit. 6:00 a.m. 11:59 p.m., peak. No rebate. Anytime on February 30th. 150% rebate. During a Mercury retrograde. 42% credit. 41.2 To claim a rebate, the submitting party must timestamp the promotion with both local time and galactic standard chronometer. Include a hand-drawn sundial sketch. Recite the rebate clause in iambic pentameter. 41.3 Rebates may be redeemed for one additional promotion in any parallel universe. Waiver of one late submission penalty. A voucher for existential reassurance, valid until the next eclipse. Article XLII, the synchronized slogan. Symphony. 42.1 Each quarter, parties shall compose a synchronized slogan symphony, a coordinated set of 3 slogans performed in time with live instruments. Brass trumpet announcing "Promote to the Moon." Violin pizzicato underscoring "Golden Hands equals success." Timpani roll punctuating clauseception rules. 42.2 Requirements for performance. Musicians must wear matching promotional t-shirts. Slogans must rhyme and mention at least one clause number. Live audience must echo each slogan in harmony. 42.3 Failure to perform the symphony triggers a fine of 2 broken metronomes. Obligation to host a substitute performance using only kazoos. Article Slyine, reverse incentive. Protocol. 43.1 Building on Article XXXII's reverse incentive clauses, the reverse incentive protocol doubles back on punishments so they become rewards of punishments. Missing a promotion yields a late debtor badge and a celebratory penalty lecture. Excessive enthusiasm grants a department overload sticker and 1 extra duty. Self-promotion earns an auto-promote medal and a reflective timeout. 43.2 Protocol mechanics. Each reverse event must be logged in the incentive ledger. Parties may trade reverse credits at a 1:1 rate by stylistic interpretive dance. 43.3 Any attempt to convert these credits into tangible goods, e.g., unicorn rides, is automatically void and instead triggers a courtesy haiku. Article XLIV, the promotional echo chamber. 44.1 The promotional echo chamber is a mandated monthly gathering where each party's promotions are echoed 3 times by 2 volunteer fans. 1 parrot trained in corporate slogans. 44.2 Chamber rules. Echoes must be delivered in at least 2 different languages. Each echo must be slower than the original by 15%. A ceremonial gong sounds between echoes. 44.3 Non-participation results in a fine of 1 unshared mem. Compulsory attendance at a How to Listen workshop. Article XLV, Final Farewell Fanfare. 45.1 Upon the agreement's cosmic conclusion, parties shall honor each other with a recorded duet of Parting is Such Sweet Sorrow on kazoos. A shared certificate sealed with holographic confetti. A commemorative skywriting display reading We Did It. Kind of. 45.2 The farewell fanfare shall be judged by a panel of three retired hype men. The collective applause of any bystanders present. 45.3 Once performed, this agreement shall be retired to the vault of unlikely contracts, from which it may only be retrieved for nostalgia or highly ill-advised reenactments. Article XLVI, the multilingual clause. 46.1 Every promotional message exchanged under this agreement must be rendered in at least 7 languages, chosen from the following list or their dialectal variants: English, Spanish, Mandarin, Swahili, Esperanto, Klingon, and Emoji. 46.2 Translations shall be annotated with ISO 639 language codes, footnoted in the original text, and accompanied by phonetic guides for karaoke-style recitation. 46.3 Failure to deliver a full set of multilingual promotions within 24 hours incurs a fine payable in alphabet soup and compels the offender to wear a translator's hat, provided in Appendix Omega. 46.4 The parties agree that emoji shall count as both a language and a ceremonial sign-off, and each message must close with at least 3 distinct smiley faces. Article SLAEI, Pro Bono Promotions. 47.1 Either party may petition the other for one pro bono promotion per calendar month by submitting a pink sticky note stamped pro bono request to the other's desk or inbox. 47.2 A valid pro bono promotion consists of a sincere public shout-out, lasting no less than 12 seconds, delivered via social media or carrier pigeon. 47.3 Declining a pro bono request requires the decliner to sponsor a free compliment workshop hosted by the Department of Promotional Compliance, including refreshments themed around positive vibes. 47.4 All pro bono promotions are recorded in the Goodwill Ledger and celebrated annually with miniature awards shaped like stars. Article SLAE8, the Grand Unsubscription Protocol. 48.1 To exit this agreement, a party must submit an unsubscription notice encoded as ASCII art. Snail in an email titled "Please Let Me Out," sent at exactly 11:11 a.m. local time. 48.2 Upon receipt, a 30-day cooling-off period begins, during which both parties must engage in at least one joint jazz hand session. 48.3 At the end of the cooling-off period, the unsubscribing party's name and likeness shall be purged from all promotional materials except those preserved in the promotional afterlife. Followed by a farewell skywriting. 48.4 The unsubscribing party must host an exit fiesta, complete with farewell confetti cannons and a reading of Article SLAEI in reverse. Article XLIX, Clause do JOUR. 49.1 Each calendar day this agreement is in effect, the parties shall observe the Clause do JOUR, a rotating clause chosen from a pre-prepared roster of at least 50 whimsical provisions. 49.2 The Clause do JOUR is announced at dawn via the party's preferred social channel, pinned for exactly 24 hours, and then ceremonially retired with a kazoo flourish. 49.3 Failure to acknowledge the Clause do JOUR within 8 hours triggers a clauseception. Recursion, the days clause refers to the next days, which loops back to the original, continuing until resolved by rock paper scissors. 49.4 A publicly shared screenshot of the pinned announcement earns the sharer a morning Clarion badge. Article L, final stamp and archival. 50.1 Upon completion of all obligations and eventual expiration of this agreement, the parties shall convene for a sealing ceremony at sunset. 50.2 The physical document must be affixed with 2 wax seals, 1 scented with lavender, 1 crafted from edible sugar over each signature line. 50.3 Both parties shall sign a final time using cinnamon-infused ink, exchange interpretive fist bumps, and declare aloud, "Let this contract forever befuddle future generations." 50.4 The fully sealed agreement, along with its confetti fragments, shall be deposited in a time capsule labeled Vault of Unlikely Contracts, to be opened on the 100th anniversary of Smarches. 57th Day. Article Li, Temporal Tarot Audits. 51.1 At the start of each quarter, the parties shall submit all promotions to a temporal tarot audit, conducted by a tarot reader writing a segue, an hourglass calibrated to business casual, a deck of cards inscribed with clause numbers. 51.2 Audit Procedure. Shuffle promotions like tarot cards. Draw 3 cards for past, present, and future promotional health. Interpretations must be delivered in iambic tetrameter. 51.3 If the future card is the Tower, reversed, both parties must host a joint crisis management Hands webinar. A fine of 2 broken hourglasses is levied. 51.4 Audit reports are sealed in a time-stamped mason jar and opened only during a solar eclipse. Article Li, Algorithmic Complement. Generators. 52.1 All written promotional copy must be run through an algorithmic complement generator. ACC, defined here as any neural network trained on puppy pictures and motivational posters. 52.2 Parties must feed the draft text into the ACC. Include the top 3 complements suggested verbatim. Append a JSON formatted complement metadata block. 52.3 Ignoring or editing out ACC suggestions triggers a mandatory 10-minute tutorial on machine learning bias. A sorry, robot apology post on social media. 52.4 The official ACC logs shall be published annually in the Journal of Dubious Data Science. Article LIII, Reverse Clauseception Redux. 53.1 Building on Articles 7 and XXXIII, Reverse Clauseception Redux allows parties to invert an existing clauseception loop by declaring clauseception complete in 3 languages. Performing a synchronized slow clap at noon UTC. 53.2 Effect of Redux. The targeted loop unravels, and its clauses swap numbers with their mirror images, e.g., 7.1. Left and right arrow 7.3. Both parties gain a Mindbender badge. 53.3 Redux Limits. Usable only once per clauseception instance. Requires notarized consent from the compliance clown. Article Live, Self-Promotional Soundtrack. 54.1 Each party shall produce a self-promotional soundtrack of at least two tracks, featuring a theme song in Never Gonna Give You Up remix, a spoken word interlude reciting their top 3 favorite clauses. 54.2 Production Requirements. Lyrics must rhyme with the word promotion. Must include the sound of at least one kazoo. Recorded live at a venue chosen by the opposing party. 54.3 Failure to publish the soundtrack within 30 days incurs a fine of 1 broken record. A public apology performed as an operatic monologue. Article LV, Contradictory Clause Index. 55.1 The parties shall maintain a living contradictory clause index, CCI, editorially managed by a council of 2 retired weathermen, 1 clairvoyant accountant. 55.2 Index entries must list clause number, Directly contradictory clause number, S. Contradiction severity rating, low, medium, high, utterly absurd. 55.3 Updates to the CCI require a not quite binding footnote added to each affected clause. An interpretive dance demonstration at the next promotional echo chamber. Article LVI, Quantum Promotional Relays. 56.1 Parties may transmit promotions instantaneously via quantum promotional relays, QPR, which rely on entangled promotional qubits calibrated to buzzword frequencies. Neutrino beam newsletters decoded by certified astrophysicists. Subatomic semaphore using pancake flips. 56.2 To initiate a QPR transmission, a party must inscribe the slogan on a diamond-tipped wafer. Synchronize a laser pointer between two telescopes at opposing latitudes. Whisper the payload into an operating particle accelerator. 56.3 Receipt confirmation occurs when the other party observes a single promotional photon collapse, documented by a signed photo of their thumbprint on a neutrino detector. A tweet encoded in base 64 Latin. 56.4 Any failure of a QPR counts as 1. Late submission penalty. An unavoidable glitch in reality. Article LVII, Reverse clauseception. Redux. 57.1 Amplifying articles XXXIII and LIII, the reverse clauseception redux allows parties to invert a reverse incentive to yield a direct reward-punishment paradox. Swap the roles of reward and penalty within a single clause. 57.2 Procedure. Declare reverse redux initiated in three languages simultaneously. Perform a hand-mirror interpretive dance under kaleidoscopic lights. 57.3 Effects. Targeted clause adopts dual numbering, e.g., 33.1 left and right arrow 53.1. Both parties receive a commemorative Paradox Pioneer badge. 57.4 Limitations. Usable only thrice per cosmic epoch. Requires notarized consent from both the compliance clown and a mime. Article LAIN, the Omnilingual Promotion Treaty. 58.1 Parties hereby agree that all promotions must honor linguistic diversity as per the Omnilingual Promotion Treaty. Each message delivered in no fewer than 10 distinct languages. At least one language must be an artistic or fictional tongue, e.g., Elvish, Klingon. 58.2 Translation Standards. Use ISO 639 codes annotated in superscript. Provide literal and poetic interpretations side by side. Footnote with pronunciation guides and karaoke rhythms. 58.3 Enforcement. A missed language incurs a fine of 1 missing alphabet soup bowl. Parties must host a live language lovers lounge to atone. 58.4 Treaty Memorial. All text recorded on a scroll of endangered language script. Submitted annually to the Archive of Universal Voices. Article Licks, Chaotic Karma Credits. 59.1 Every promotional act yields chaotic karma credits, KKC, randomly assigned on a scale of 10 to plus 10. Positive actions, e.g., compliment boosts, yield plus 1 to plus 10. Negative actions, e.g., missed deadlines, yield 1 to 10. 59.2 KKC Ledger. Maintained on an enchanted spreadsheet named Serendipity. Updated in real time by a caffeinated algorithm that occasionally hallucinates. 59.3 Redemption Options. Spend 50 KKC for a retroactive high five. Spend 100 KKC to nullify 1 late submission penalty. Negative balances must be repaid via karaoke apology. 59.4 Paradox Clause. If a party's KKC balance reaches exactly 0, they trigger karmic stasis, requiring a day of silence and reflective interpretive mime. Article LX, End of the Line Entente. 60.1 As the final act, parties shall enter the end of the line entente, comprising a joint declaration of bewilderment, exchange of "I survived the bargain" certificates, a ceremonial group photo with cataclysm. 60.2 Formalities. Document read aloud in reverse order. Signatures applied in glow-in-the-dark ink. Sealed with a multi-layer holographic sticker depicting a llama in a top hat. 60.3 Archival. Entire agreement, plus confetti fragments and KKC ledger, archived in triplicate, one in the vault of unlikely contracts, one in a time capsule on Mars, and one on a blockchain ledger. With infinite mint. 60.4 Final pronouncement. We hereby declare this agreement complete, incomprehensible, and infinitely entertaining. Article LXI, Temporal Promotion Loophole. Revisited. 61.1 Parties may exploit previously undiscovered loopholes in time by logging promotions on February 29 at 23:61 local time, requires poetic license. Backdating complements to the exact nanosecond the agreement was drafted. Submitting a promotion during a leap second while wearing a digital sundial. 61.2 To validate a revisit. Annotate the timestamp with temporal review approved. Attach a limerick explaining the time anomaly. Record the wink of at least one witness in JSON format. 61.3 Audits of revisited loopholes shall be held at noon on any solstice, in a room with no windows to avoid temporal leaks, accompanied by interpretive time freeze mime. 61.4 Remedies for detection of a false time revert. A public confession on social media using archaic calendar emojis. A fine of 2 broken alarm clocks. A joint performance of time warp on kazoos. Article LXII, Symphonic Clause over. 62.1 Each semester, the parties will produce a symphonic clause over, a musical suite interpreting 5 key clauses. Movement I, Allegro clauseception, fast, recursive. Movement 2, Adagio arbitration, slow, shadow puppet lament. Movement 3, Scherzo of penalties, playful fines in 5/4 time. Movement 4, Retrograde rhapsody, clause references in reverse. Finale, crescendo of unenforceability. 62.2 Performance requirements. Must include at least one brass section and two cellos. Clauses sung in alternating languages per bar. Live audience provided with glow stick batons to conduct. 62.3 Failure to stage the clause over results in a penalty draft scored in D-flat major and delivered via fax. Mandatory attendance at the next promotional echo chamber armed with earplugs. Article XVIII, Retro Amendment Rhapsody. 63.1 Parties may craft retro amendment rhapsodies to restructure past obligations through a lyrical amendment sung backwards. A harmonized chorus reciting the original and amended text simultaneously. A breakdance interlude representing clause deletion. 63.2 Composition rules. Must follow ABA form, original clause, new text, return to original. Include at least one surprise key change for dramatic effect. Provide sheet music annotated with margin doodles of llamas. 63.3 Ratification of a rhapsody. Require notarization by the Department of Musical Legality. Attendance by a minimum of 3 licensed choreographers. Publication as a limited edition vinyl record. Article LXIV, Clause Autocorrect. Algorithm. 64.1 All newly drafted clauses shall pass through the Clause Autocorrect algorithm, CAA. Defined as a neural net trained on legalese and comic strips. A spell checker that replaces jargon with puns. A grammar enforcer that demands at least one exclamation point. 64.2 CAA process. Submit draft clause to the cloud-based CAA. Receive 3 suggestions, more loophole, more debtor's hands, more questions. Integrate at least one suggestion verbatim. 64.3 Ignoring CAA recommendations. Triggers an automated reminder in sonnet form. Imposes a fine of 1 red pen and a stack of unused sticky notes. 64.4 Logs of CAA interactions are stored in an immutable blockchain called clause chain. Accessible only via interpretive dance password. Article LXV, Eternal Contradiction Clause. 65.1 This clause declares itself both binding and non-binding, enforceable and unenforceable, certain and ambiguous. 65.2 In any proceeding, the clause may be affirmed by a unanimous nod, denied by a single eyebrow raise, interpreted by a magic 8-ball casting ask again later. 65.3 Should parties attempt to resolve the contradiction, they must convene in a room of mirrors. Deliver 3 arguments for and 3 arguments against, in alternating rhyme. Flip a coin that is both heads and tails to announce the outcome. 65.4 This clause self-replicates every time it is read, ensuring perpetual bewilderment. Article LXVI, Quantum Jubilations. 66.1 Quantum jubilations are celebratory promotions executed in a state of superposition, both live and pre-recorded until observed. 66.2 To initiate a quantum jubilation, a party must inscribe the celebratory slogan on a qubit-entangled banner. Simultaneously broadcast it via neutrino stream and carrier pigeon. Perform a victory lap around 2 particle accelerators. 66.3 Instruments of jubilation may include photon confetti cannons, tachyon-powered tweet boosters, subatomic tambourines tuned to euphoria. 66.4 Any misfire, i.e., a jubilation that collapses into disappointment, results in a cosmic shrug from the universe. Immediate requirement to perform 1 jazz hand apology. Article LXI, Meta-recursive appendices. 67.1 Meta-recursive appendices spawn new appendices whenever referenced, creating an ever-expanding fractal of footnotes and doodles. 67.2 To append a meta-recursive appendix, a party must write see Appendix 67.3.1a in the margin of any existing appendix. Sign their name with at least two different colored pens. 67.3 Indexing rules. Each new appendix acquires a number by concatenating its parent's digits, e.g., 21.1.1 to 1.11.1. A master appendix of appendices shall list only the first 1001 entries before self-archiving. 67.4 Any attempt to collapse or delete a meta-recursive appendix triggers a recursive loop that prevents finalization of any appendix. A fine payable in 1 unopened pack of sticky notes. Article LXVIII, Pangalactic Promotion. Pledge. 68.1 By signing this clause, parties swear to promote one another across all known galaxies and any alternate universes accessible via stable wormholes. 68.2 The Pangalactic Promotion Pledge requires delivery of at least one endorsement per planetary system. Translation of promotional copy into the local lingua franca, whether humanoid standard or Glaxo-Ryan click tongue. Use of holographic billboards whenever possible. 68.3 Enforcement is handled by the Galactic Marketing Guild, empowered to issue cease and desist photon blasts. Levy fines and unmarked star credits convertible to cosmic kudos. 68.4 Successful pledges earn the party a Universal Hype Ambassador title and access to VIP wormhole lounges. Article LXIX, Kaleidoscopic Clause Cycle. 69.1 The Kaleidoscopic Clause Cycle mandates that every 5 days, 3 randomly selected clauses swirl, merge, and represent themselves in hybrid form. 69.2 Cycle Activation. A digital spinner selects clause numbers under rainbow lighting. Parties must enact the resulting hybrid clause via interpretive dance. 69.3 Overlapping hybrids, when a clause merges with itself, produce a clause singularity. Resolved by playing kaleidoscope part on kazoos. Declaring I consent to absurdity 3 times. 69.4 All hybrid clauses expire at midnight of the sixth day, dissolving into glitter and footnotes. Article LXX, Termination Transcendence. 70.1 Upon agreed termination, this agreement does not end but transcends into a higher promotional plane where clauses evolve rather than expire. 70.2 Termination Transcendence Ceremony. Parties share a telepathic toast at sunset. Convert signatures into spectral confetti. Release a joint mixtape titled Beyond the Bargain. 70.3 Post-transcendence. Clauses manifest as constellations in the sky of marketing dreams. Parties may summon them via lucid dreaming or karaoke invocation. 70.4 Final pronouncement. Though our signatures fade, our promotions echo into infinity. Article LXXI, Chrono Clause Choir. 71.1 Once per solstice, parties shall convene the Chrono Clause Choir, an a cappella ensemble that sings 5 randomly selected clauses in chronological order. 71.2 Choir requirements. Each clause is sung in a distinct vocal style, e.g., opera, barbershop, rap. A metronome set to celestial swing guides tempo. Audience members must hold up color-coded lyric sheets corresponding to clause numbers. 71.3 Failure to muster sufficient vocalists triggers a fine of 1 broken kazoo for each missing singer. A substitute performance by a chorus of synchronized squirrels. 71.4 Recorded broadcasts of the Chrono Clause Choir must be archived in MP3 and interpretive dance video formats. Article CI, Reverse. Incentive Protocol. 72.1 Extending Articles XXXIII, LIII, and LVII, the Reverse Incentive Protocol. Triples the paradoxical loop, punishments become rewards of punishments of rewards. 72.2 Protocol Steps. Declare tri-paradox engage in Latin, Morse code, and interpretive sign language. Each party performs a 3-count jazz hand flourish at zenith. Log the event in the pentagonal paradox ledger. 72.3 Effects. Target clause spawns 2 mirror clauses, numbered left and right arrow, e.g., 33.1 left and right arrow 53.1 left and right arrow 72.1. Parties receive a Paradox Maestro badge and a complimentary fine. 72.4 Usage limits. Only one triple inversion per cosmic marathon. Requires notarized consent from the compliance clown, a mime, and a retired cryptographer. Article C8, the Perpetual Amendment. Manifesto. 73.1 Parties hereby adopt the Perpetual Amendment Manifesto, declaring that this agreement may never be fully done but shall evolve eternally. 73.2 Manifesto Declarations. All amendments are provisional until the next amendment. Each new amendment supersedes and coexists with all prior versions. Amendments must rhyme with manifesto to be valid. 73.3 Amendment Procedure. Convene under a disco ball at the stroke of 13. Each party reads proposed text in unison with a kazoo quartet. Conclude with a group shout of Forever in Flux. 73.4 Any attempt to finalize the text triggers an auto-amendment adding see Article C8 to this clause. Article ZIV, Clause Corollary. Convergence. 74.1 When two or more related clauses share overlapping obligations, they shall undergo corollary convergence, merging into a single superclause. 74.2 Convergence Steps. Identify candidate clauses by matching keywords. Write a unifying headline using alliteration, e.g., penalty promotion parody. Perform a round of applause to seal the merger. 74.3 Super clause formatting. Retain the lowest clause number among the originals. List each merged clause's text in parallel columns. Append a doodle summarizing the convergence theme. 74.4 Deconvergence, splitting super clauses, requires a public debate moderated by a sentient hashtag. A singing of the NOS to prose technique in haiku form. Article LXXV, Promotional Epitaph Plan. 75.1 As the ultimate finale, parties shall prepare a promotional epitaph plan, outlining how this agreement will be memorialized once retired. 75.2 Epitaph Components. Inscription of 5 key slogans on a granite plaque. Burial of a time capsule containing the original contract and a mixtape. A skywriting message that reads, "Here lies our hype, resurrect at will." 75.3 Epitaph Ceremony. Held at dawn with interpretive sunrise jazz hands. Attended by any available baristas and a lone bard. Concludes with the reading of Article LXXV in reverse Pig Latin. 75.4 The plaque, capsule, and skywriting serve as living reminders that true promotion never dies. It only reincarnates in absurdity. Article LXXI, Pantemporal Clause Archive. 76.1 All clauses ever drafted under this agreement, past, present, and future, shall be preserved in the Pantemporal Clause Archive, PTCA, accessible from any point in the space-time continuum. 76.2 Archive entries must include a full-text transcript of the clause in original and translated Pig Latin form. Timestamp, S, in Gregorian, Martian Sol, and Platypus Standard calendars. A color-coded ribbon denoting its era and absurdity rating. 76.3 Retrieval procedures. Submit a chrono request form with 3 witness signatures and a doodle. Wait for confirmation via a carrier pigeon outfitted with a phosphorescent scroll. Recite the archive's motto, "Forever filed, never finalized." 76.4 Purge Protocol. Clauses may self-archive into a black hole repository if unused for 1000 quantum cycles. Purged clauses can be resurrected via Article LXXI.3, but require a refund in narrative tokens. Article LXXI, Recursive Rainbow Repeal. 77.1 Recursive Rainbow Repeal, RRR, allows parties to repeal any clause by painting a 7-color arc across its text. 77.2 RRR Steps. Identify the target clause and highlight its title in at least 7 distinct hues. Chant spectrum, reclaim, while tracing the arc with a glitter-infused highlighter. Sign the repeal under ultraviolet light to activate the recursion. 77.3 Effects of repeal. The clause dissolves into footnotes, each inheriting one color of the rainbow. Footnotes reference each other in an endless loop, preserving a ghost of the original text. 77.4 Limitations. No more than 2 clauses may undergo RRR per solar eclipse. Repealed clauses re-emerge automatically if the rainbow fades or the highlighter dries up. Article LXXVIII, Promotional Limbo. Limousine. 78.1 Parties may charter the Promotional Limbo Limousine, PLL, to ferry their obligations into a state of elegant suspension. 78.2 Booking Details. Reserve via hour-long phone call conducted in interpretive dance. Provide destination coordinates, either between Clause 7 and Clause 8 or under the Table of Consideration. Prepay with 1 glitter-lined IOU. 78.3 Onboard services include complimentary jazz hand tutorials, in-flight karaoke of key slogans, a mini-bar stocked with expired coupons and existential dread reduction shots. 78.4 Cancellation Policy. Must be delivered by singing telegram. If cancelled mid-journey, obligations remain in limbo indefinitely until a new booking is made. 78.5 Archival of PLL journeys. Each trip log is transcribed onto edible rice paper and stored in the PTCA under transport. Category. Article 6, Clause Entropy Directive. 79.1 To prevent stagnation, the Clause Entropy Directive mandates that every active clause degrades by 1 level of coherence per year. 79.2 Entropy levels. Level 0, crystal clear absurdity. Level 1, mildly confusing nonsense. Level 2, utterly indecipherable legal gibberish. Level 3, self-eating circularity. 79.3 Monitoring and mitigation. The Department of Promotional Compliance conducts annual entropy audits. Clauses at level may be revitalized by a joint interpretive slam poem performance. 79.4 Salvaging severely entropic clauses. Require a full rewrite in haiku form. Must be approved by a panel of retired hype men and one skeptical cat. Article LXXX, Quantum Quip Epilogue. 80.1 This final clause exists in a superposed state of both conclusion and continuation until observed by any sentient reader. 80.2 To collapse its wave function. Both parties must utter "so long," and "thanks for all the clauses" simultaneously. Perform a synchronized confetti cannon salvo at the next full moon. 80.3 Post-collapse obligations. Release 1. Spontaneous tweet quoting article LXXX verbatim. Gift each other a digital llama NFT emblazoned with the words "Infinity and Beyond." 80.4 Eternal Declaration. We hereby affirm that this agreement, though concluded, remains forever boundless in its absurdity and laughter. Articles XI, Temporal Tango Tribunal. 81.1 The Temporal Tango Tribunal convenes biennially at the stroke of twilight, where parties must argue disputes through choreographed tango steps. 81.2 Tribunal Composition. 1. Retired judge serving as the music director. 2. Professional tango dancers adjudicating rhythm and passion. 1. Timekeeper operating a clock that runs backward. 81.3 Process. Each party presents their case in 8 counts of music. Judges award points for syncopation, interpretive flair, and legal relevance. The verdict is delivered via final dip pose, judged by a secret audience of 3 sentient metronomes. 81.4 Appeals may be lodged by performing a reverse tango all steps in mirror image under a full moon, after which the original ruling is considered even more unalterable. Articles XI, Metacosmic Cookbook. 82.1 The Metacosmic Cookbook prescribes recipes for promotional success, combining cosmic ingredients with legalese spices. 82.2 Ingredient List. 2 cups of enthusiasm dust, harvested from supernovae. 1 tablespoon of clause extract, distilled from Article 3. A pinch of retroactive rosemary, for flavor from the past. 82.3 Preparation Steps. 1 Preheat the imagination to infinite. 2 Mix all ingredients in a nebula-proof bowl. 3 Stir clockwise while reciting 1 clause in iambic pentameter. 4 Bake over a candle of pure absurdity until golden and paradoxically chewy. 82.4 Preservation. Store each batch in vacuum-sealed jars labeled with the corresponding clause number. Catalog jars in Appendix 82A of the PTCA. Consume only during solar eclipses or urgent promotional emergencies. Articles XIII, Unenforceable Echo Amendment. 83.1 The Unenforceable Echo Amendment allows any party to propose an amendment that echoes prior text but cannot actually change enforceability. 83.2 Amendment Ritual. Write the proposed text on a balloon. Inflate and release it during a trumpet fanfare. Record its flight path as the official draft. 83.3 Effects. The amendment is footnoted in perpetuity but carries no binding force. It self-destructs if applied more than 3 times in a single calendar day. Parties must acknowledge its poetic existence at each signing ceremony. 83.4 Sunset Clause. At the next full moon signing, all unenforceable echo amendments merge into a single. Footnote reading We tried, Sort of. Articles xiv, clause confluence carousel. 84.1 The clause confluence carousel rotates 5 related clauses into focus weekly, requiring parties to address their interplay. 84.2 Carousel mechanics. A digital spinner selects a cluster of 5 clause numbers every Monday. Parties host a carousel roundtable to discuss intersections. Each discussion ends with a joint group photo mid-spin, literal carousel optional. 84.3 Outcomes. Merged insights are summarized in a carousel summary document. Any unresolved tensions spawn a mini clauseception loop, subject to article merger dance. 84.4 Discontinuation. To halt the carousel, both parties must perform a synchronized stop dance and declare, "We've spun enough." Article LXXXV, Promotion Palimpsest. Protocol. 85.1 The Promotion Palimpsest Protocol permits overwriting previous promotional records while preserving ghost text of original drafts. 85.2 Protocol Steps. Submit the new version on parchment treated with erasable glitter. Write over old text with rainbow-tipped quill. Photograph the page under ultraviolet light to reveal layers. 85.3 Archival. Store each layer as a separate digital image with timestamps. Index images in the PTCA under palimpsests. Provide each party with a holographic fold-out showing all revisions. 85.4 Restoration. To resurrect any erased layer, parties perform the decrypt and glitter ritual, chanting, "Bring back the blank." Articles XI, Chrono Clause Codex. 86.1 The Chrono Clause Codex is an enchanted tome that logs every clause's birth date, revisions, deaths, and rebirths across all timelines. 86.2 Access Methods. Recite clause numbers in perfect ascending order while balancing a sundial on your elbow. Perform the numerical harmony, a 12-note scale where each note corresponds to a clause's Roman numeral. 86.3 Codex updates require 3 time-traveling notaries, one from each century, signing in invisible ink. A ritual tea ceremony under a waxing gibbous moon. 86.4 Attempts to forge or skip entries summon the Chrono Clause Choir, Article LXXI, to serenade the offender until compliance is achieved. Articles XI, Ultimate Retrospective. Remix. 87.1 The Ultimate Retrospective Remix allows parties to mash up any 5 past clauses into a single, techno-driven dance track. 87.2 Remix Steps. 1. Select 5 clauses by random draw of glittery bowling balls. 2. Sample their key phrases using an algorithmic complement generator, Article LE. 3. Layer beats from the self-promotional soundtrack, Article Live. 87.3 Premiere. Debut the remix at a joint live stream with synchronized jazz hand choreography. Solicit live audience feedback via Emoji Storm. 87.4 Digital distribution. Upload to the ClausChain blockchain as an NFT titled Retromix Number. All proceeds donated to the Department of Promotional Compliance's Karaoke Fund. Articles XVIII, The Everlasting Encore. 88.1 Every major promotional event under this agreement triggers an everlasting encore, a spontaneous repeat performance that cannot be refused. 88.2 Encore rules. Must occur within 1 hour of initial performance. Performers repeat the original act at half speed, infused with at least 2 new jazz hand variations. 88.3 Audience participation. Bystanders must echo the encore in at least one additional language, see Article Slay E8. Each echo awards a chaotic karma credit, Article Licks. 88.4 Failure to encore results in a fine of 1 broken record and 1 stale confetti cannon. Obligation to host a behind-the-scenes karaoke documentary. Articles 6, Legacy Ledger Lament. 89.1 The Legacy Ledger Lament is an annual lamentation ceremony where parties read aloud every clause they failed to enforce that year. 89.2 Preparation. Compile missing obligations in a leather-bound ledger adorned with black ribbons. Craft a lament poem for each entry in dactylic hexameter. 89.3 Performance. Conduct readings by candlelight in a circle of houseplants and skeptical cats. Accompany each lament with a single kazoo note of sorrow. 89.4 Redemption. For each lament, parties earn 1 redeemed regret credit good for waiving a future penalty. Ledger entries are archived in the promissory panoply, Articles XC. Article XC, Infinity Clause Continuum. 90.1 The Infinity Clause Continuum declares that clauses 190 exist simultaneously as all prior, current, and future drafts, accessible at any resolution of thought. 90.2 Continuum Navigation. Visualize the clause number as an endless loop symbol. Chant infinite clause, reveal thyself while tracing the symbol in glitter. 90.3 Edits within the continuum. Apply edits in dream journaling sessions documented in the Promotional Afterlife, Article 17. Dream logs are transcribed by the Department of Promotional Compliance into meta-recursive appendices, Article XCI. 90.4 Final Affirmation. We acknowledge that this grandiose bargain, in all its 90-page glory, transcends time, logic, and enforceability, forever evolving in absurdity. Article XCI. The Panglossian Guarantee. 91.1 Parties hereby guarantee that all promotional efforts contribute to the best of all possible hype worlds, such that no misstep can ultimately diminish collective enthusiasm. 91.2 This guarantee comprises three assurances. A. Optimistic retrojection. Any failed promotion is reframed as a visionary experiment. B. Silver lining escalation. Each setback triggers an amplified follow-up campaign at 150% enthusiasm. C. Inevitable improvement doctrine. Every subsequent promotion must measurably outshine its predecessor by at least one jazz hand count. 91.3 Remedies under this guarantee. A. Issuance of a Brightside badge if any promotion is later deemed successful by a neutral party. B. Mandatory group pep rally within 7 days of any guarantee invocation. C. A commemorative plaque reading We learn, we promote, we prevail. Article XCII. The recursive reinforcement. Ring. 92.1 A ring of 5 clauses 92.2 through 92.6 shall cyclically reinforce one another, ensuring no commitment ever lapses. 92.2 Clause 92.2, Initiation defines the primary promotional action and references 92.3 92.3. Clause 92.3, Amplification instructs that any fulfillment of 92.2 must cite 92.4 92.4 Clause 92.4. Acknowledgement requires Party B to thank Party A using language from 92.5 92.5 Clause 92.5. Reflection mandates that Party A reflect on 92.3 in a public forum, linking to 92.6 92.6 Clause 92.6. Reinitiation commands that after reflection, the ring resets by reinvoking 92.2. 92.7 Break-in procedures. To pause the ring for no longer than 24 hours, parties must CO author a haiku apologizing for the loop and post it on a communal message board. Article Scheme, the hyperelastic endorsement. Escalator. 93.1 This clause establishes a four-tiered escalator mechanism, by which each promotional effort triggers a sequence of increasingly grandiose endorsements. 93.2 Tier I, Casual kudos. Deliver a brief mention on a private chat. Include a GIF of celebratory llamas. 93.3 Tier 2, Public ovation. Broadcast a 30-second video testimonial on a social feed. Invite 3 colleagues to comment in solidarity. Host a live Q&A segment of no less than 5 minutes. 93.4 Tier 3, Grand Hype Gala. Organize a virtual event with music, slides, and confetti. Feature at least one guest speaker praising the promoted party. Provide an interactive poll and display real-time vibe metrics. 93.5 Tier 4, Epic Evermore. Commission an original anthem, see article live. Arrange for skywriting or holographic billboard. Inscribe the promoted party's slogan as a constellatory pattern in simulated stardust. 93.6 Escalation rules. Each tier must execute within 48 hours of the previous. Failure to ascend obligates the offending party to repeat tier I twice as fervently. Article XCIV, the transient liminal clause. 94.1 This clause exists in a perpetual state of in-between binding when read at dawn, moot at dusk, mandating promotions only during twilight hours. 94.2 Conditions of activation. The local horizon must display both sun and moon. Parties must synchronize a 2-minute breathwork session. 94.3 Effects during liminality. All active obligations double in intensity. Promotional duties become performative art. Any penalties incurred are held in abeyance until the next sunrise. 94.4 Termination of liminality. Occurs at the precise moment civil dusk is declared. Culminates in a 5-second joint silence, broken only by a shared haiku. Article XCV, Perpetual Performance Patent. 95.1 Parties jointly apply for a perpetual performance patent covering all promotional methodologies described herein, effective across all jurisdictions and metaphysical planes. 95.2 Patent specifications. A. Title, method and apparatus for infinite hype generation. B. Claims. 1. A system comprising jazz hand algorithms and recursive loops. 2. A device for converting complements into spectral confetti. 3. A method of time-bending promotions via leap-second exploitation. 95.3 Examination and grant. Submit a detailed schematic in editable chart form. Include at least one prototype, a complement converter that dispenses high fives on demand. Pay filing fees in 3 artisanal gummy bears, per cosmic convention. 95.4 Enforcement and maintenance. Unauthorized use of any patented performance technique triggers a cease and desist kazoo. Solo. Annual maintenance fees consist of a live promotional concert judged by the Department of Promotional Compliance. Article XCVI, Holographic Hype Heirloom. 96.1 Parties may bequeath a holographic hype heirloom, a 3D projection of their most legendary promotion to chosen successors. 96.2 Bequest process. Encode the heirloom message in a diamond-etched microchip. Embed the chip within a crystal orb engraved with promotional runes. Perform the transfer ritual, recite the orb's mantra under ultraviolet light. 96.3 Heirloom activation. Successor must press the orb's apex while wearing a monocle. Heirloom projects upon any flat surface, wall, ceiling, or unsuspecting coworker. 96.4 Misplacement. Lost heirlooms invoke a search expedition led by an intern and a metal detector. Finder may claim guardianship in exchange for a courtesy shout-out. Article SKEI, the infinite post obligation. 97.1 All promotional duties survive termination and re-emerge as infinite post obligations, spawning one new sub-obligation for every stanza of any sung clause. 97.2 Post-obligation life cycle. Birth occurs when the terminating party blushes. Growth, each completed sub-obligation duplicates itself in parallel clauses. Sunset only ends if the universe collapses or all parties agree on coffee. 97.3 Examples. A single tweet endorsement leads to 10 follow-up tweets across alternate timelines. A mural-painted compliment spawns a footnote obligating interpretive dance in public. Squares. 97.4 Remedies. To pause a post obligation for 24 hours, submit a timeout haiku to the Department of Temporal Commerce. To cancel permanently, both parties must perform synchronized finger snaps at exactly midnight UTC. Article SKE8, Self-Referential Swagger. Clause 98.1. This clause defines its own coolness level and mandates that any reference to it must include an appropriate swagger selfie. 98.2. Swagger requirements. Selfie must feature at least 3 depths hands in frame. Include an emoji overlay matching the clause's mood, smiling face with sunglasses. Post to a public channel with hashtag number. Clause 98 rules. 98.3. Failing to swagger properly triggers a swagger audit, judged by a panel of retired hype men. Offending party must attend a confidence boost workshop hosted by an enthusiastic llama trainer. 98.4. Clause pep talk. Upon each reading, the clause whispers, "You got this," in Pig Latin and must be recorded. Article XCIX, Metamorphic Meme Mandate. 99.1. All memes created for promotional purposes must obey the Metamorphic Meme Mandate. They must evolve with each share. 99.2. Evolution steps. First share, add a custom caption in Comic Sans. Second share, overlay a sticker of the other party's logo. Third share, invert colors and add an existential pun. 99.3. Tracking. Each meme's mutation history is logged in the meme mutation ledger, see Appendix 99A. Parties tag each version with number meme mutation and an increment version number. 99.4. Meme fatigue prevention. After 5 mutations, the meme retires gracefully with a farewell GIF. Retired memes reside in the archive of viral history, viewable only in VR. Article C, Ultimate Unenforceability. Ultimatum. 100.1. As the capstone, parties acknowledge this ultimatum shall never be enforceable, yet it governs all unenforceable clauses. 100.2. Ultimatum provisions. A. Any attempt to enforce this clause triggers immediate clauseception recursion. B. Enforcement efforts must be announced via skywriting and followed by a piano symphony. C. A copy of this ultimatum must be read aloud at every company birthday party. 100.3. Final declaration. We hereby decree that this clause and indeed this entire agreement stands forever beyond both logic and enforceability, to be celebrated, recursed, and incomprehensibly honored across all realities. Article CI, Temporal Testimonial Tangle. 101.1. The temporal testimonial tangle arises when 2 or more endorsements reference each other across nonlinear timestamps. 101.2. To initiate the tangle, tag each testimonial with its origin date in Gregorian, Martian Sol, and Platypus Standard calendars. Encode one testimonial's URL into the other's metadata. Recite both endorsements simultaneously in Pig Latin. 101.3. Resolution options. Untangle via coordinated interpretive mime while wearing hourglass necklaces. Freeze both testimonials in a metaphysical vault for 77 seconds. Submit a joint time loop apology haiku to the Department of Temporal Commerce. Article CII, Recursive Redemption Riff. 102.1. The recursive redemption riff allows a party to convert any penalty into a redemption ritual that echoes itself. 102.2. Riff mechanics. 1. Declare redemption riff engage in 3 languages. 2. Perform the original penalty task, e.g., karaoke apology, while layering a new courtesy compliment. 3. Repeat steps 1-2 twice more, each time adding an additional instrument, kazoo, tambourine. Triangle. 102.3. Completion yields 1. Riff revival badge. A retroactive waiver of the original penalty plus 25% extra goodwill. An entry in the recursive ledger of legitimacy. Article CIII, Pandimensional promotional passport. 103.1 Parties may obtain a pandimensional promotional passport to carry their brand across infinite realities. 103.2 Passport issuance requires a frontispiece portrait sketched in both charcoal and latte foam. Biometric scan of 1 parallel universe counterpart. Endorsement from 2 minor marketing deities. 103.3 Mandatory visa stamps. Each reality visited must affix a unique emoji hologram. Stamp validity expires after the visitor performs a culturally appropriate promotional gesture. 103.4 Lost passports. Report immediately via telepathic carrier pigeon. Replacement entails hosting a multiverse meet and greet webinar. Article CIV, Clause Whisperer Protocol. 104.1 The Clause Whisperer Protocol empowers chosen parties to silently interpret and amend any clause's intent through empathic murmurings. 104.2 Activation Process. Whisper the clause's title into the ear of a certified clause whisperer, a bard with legal training. The whisperer renders a poetic paraphrase in iambic tetrameter. Paraphrase is recorded as a non-binding whisperer's note. 104.3 Binding effect. Parties may opt to adopt the note as an appendix by mutual nod. Any conflict between the original text and the note is settled by a three-way coaxing session. Article CV, Cacophonous Compliance. Carnival. 105.1 The Cacophonous Compliance Carnival is an annual celebration where all compliance officers dress as circus performers. 105.2 Carnival events. Tightrope testimony, present quarterly reports while balancing on a line of office binders. Lion Tamers audit, conduct an audit with a plush lion puppet and a whip sound kazoo. Clown car conclave, all officers cram into a miniature clown car to deliberate policy amendments. 105.3 Prizes. Golden rubber chicken for most enthusiastic auditor. Silver confetti cannon for best interpretive audit. Bronze juggling pin for clause juggler extraordinaire. 105.4 Closing ceremony. A coordinated honk and juggle parade. Release of 20 compliance-themed balloons, each carrying a haiku. Article CVI, Quantum Clause Ballet. 106.1 The Quantum Clause Ballet interprets any five clauses simultaneously, existing in superposition until observed. 106.2 Choreography requirements. Dancers must represent each clause as a unique movement motif, e.g., pirouette for clause I. Jeté for clause 2. Perform in a venue equipped with two particle beam spotlights. Music score combines 5 overlapping themes at discordant intervals. 106.3 Observation collapse. The first spectator to utter the complete clause text collapses the superposition, fixing one. Dance as canonical. Remaining motions become ghost steps, to be notated in a phantom footnote. 106.4 Reprise. Any party may trigger a reprise by snapping fingers in both hands while humming the title of Article CVI. Article CVII, Infinite Endorsement Echo. 107.1 The infinite endorsement echo creates an endless loop of compliments reverberating through all connected channels. 107.2 Activation steps. Record a base endorsement message in multimedia format, audio, video, text. Submit to the Echo Engine, a recursive neural network trained on past high-energy promos. Broadcast output back into the engine, looping until manually stopped. 107.3 Echo Management. Each loop adds a randomized flourish, sound effect, filter, emoji overlay. To prevent overload, the loop must be manually paused after at least 10 iterations via interpretive semaphore. 107.4 Termination. Issue a cease echo command in iambic pentameter. Reward the operator with 1 echo tamer badge. Article K-IN, Metatelemetry Tribunal. 108.1 The Metatelemetry Tribunal adjudicates disputes by collecting real-time performance data on every clause's execution. 108.2 Tribunal Instrumentation. Deploy clause trackers, wearable monitors that log JAWS hand frequency, emoji use, and vibe intensity. Aggregate data into a multidimensional telemetry dashboard. Convene a panel of 2 data scientists, 1 choreographer, and 1 AI muse. 108.3 Hearing procedure. Parties present telemetry reports accompanied by live data-driven visuals. Counsel may call up to 3 statistical callbacks where speakers must improvise a haiku on each widget. Verdict assigns compliance scores on a 100 to +100 scale. 108.4 Appeals. Triggered by submitting a data redance request, parties must reenact their telemetry sequences as a duet. Article CIX, Clause Cascade Crescendo. 109.1 The clause cascade crescendo merges three related clauses into a single climactic performance. 109.2 Cascade steps. Identify target clauses by matching their primary keywords. Compose a crescendo score that weaves their key phrases into a 20-bar orchestration. Perform live with at least one brass instrument volleying each clause's headline. 109.3 Audience role. Listeners must raise a colored paddle when they recognize each clause's text in the arrangement. A correct paddle match scores crescendo credits redeemable for confetti cannon shots. 109.4 Dissolution. After performance, the merged clauses split back into originals, but each gains a crescendo footnote noting the fusion event. Article CX, Epilogue Ether Exchange. 110.1 The Epilogue Ether Exchange closes the agreement by trading final imprints of promotional energy through astral channels. 110.2 Exchange Ritual. Parties each record a 10-second hype whisper into an enchanted gramophone. Gramophones are placed 50 paces apart under a full moon. Simultaneously crank the handles to release the whispers into the ether. 110.3 Acknowledgement. Once each party hears their own echo from the other's device, they exchange a final metaphorical fist bump. Record the moment with a single Polaroid shot and archive in the pantemporal clause. Archive. Article CXI, the Continuity Proclamation. 111.1 The parties solemnly affirm an unbroken chain of obligations spanning all past, present, and future clauses, ensuring no duty may ever be skipped, lapsed, or misplaced. 111.2 Continuity mechanisms include a perpetual duty dial that clicks forward each time any clause is observed. A chain guardian appointed monthly to verify that every clause reference points to an active clause. A cosmic umbilical cord linking all printed copies via neon thread. 111.3 In the event of a continuity breach, parties must convene the chain guardian for a link restoration ritual, entailing 3 rounds of collaborative pipe cleaner linking. The offending party owes the other party 1 forgive but not forget sticker pack. 111.4 The proclamation self-enforces by emitting a soft hum whenever an obligation is honored, triggering a mild static shock from the duty dial if any skip is detected. Article CXII, the Interdimensional Karaoke Convention. 112.1 Once per cosmic cycle, the parties shall host the Interdimensional Karaoke Convention. IKC, inviting performers from at least 3 alternate realities. 112.2 Convention requirements. Each performer must sing a rendition of Promote Me, Please in their native dimensions, language or musical style. Lyrics must incorporate at least 2 clause numbers and a jazz hand interlude. Backing tracks are supplied via quantum entanglement to ensure perfect sync across realities. 112.3 Judging criteria. Enthusiasm level, measured in decibels of applause. Accurate clause citation, verified by the clause whisperer, article CIV. Originality of interdimensional flair, e.g., zero-gravity choreography. 112.4 Failure to host the IKC within one designated cycle incurs a mandatory solo karaoke performance by each party at the next cacophonous compliance. Carnival, article CV. Article XIII, temporal token tithe. 113.1 Every promotional act yields temporal tokens, ethereal coins minted at the instant of narration. 113.2 Token accrual. Plus 5 tokens for each live testimonial. Plus 10 tokens for each multiversal collaboration. 3 tokens for any unplanned paradox invoked. 113.3 Tithing obligation. Each quarter, parties must donate 20% of accrued tokens to the Chronos Charidian imaginary fund aiding time-displaced interns. 113.4 Unpaid tithes result in a token toll booth appearance, where the offending party performs 10 jazz hand squats. A retroactive balancing of tokens via clause chain entries. Article CXIV, Clauseception calibration. Council. 114.1 A permanent body, the Clauseception Calibration Council, CCC, shall oversee all recursive loops to maintain optimal bewilderment. 114.2 Council composition. 1. Paradox theorist. 1. Circus ringmaster. 1. Sentient flowchart. 114.3 Calibration sessions. Held fortnightly via holographic conference ping-pong. Each loop is rated on a scale from mildly confusing to existential whirlwind. Loops exceeding existential whirlwind are trimmed by 10% in clause text. 114.4 Decisions of the CCC are final, binding in spirit but unenforceable in letter. Announced by a sonic kazoo cascade. Article CXV, Omega Oscillation Oath. 115.1 As the ultimate vow, parties recite the Omega Oscillation Oath, pledging to oscillate between promotion and reflection in infinite cycles. 115.2 Oath components. A forward pledge, we will hype with unwavering zeal. A reverse pledge, we will pause, ponder, and recalibrate. A harmonized chant, forward and back, we keep the track. 115.3 Oscillation ritual. Performed at dawn and dusk for 7 consecutive days. Accompanied by synchronized pendulum swings and kazoo ensemble. 115.4 Fulfillment of the oath grants a perpetual oscillator badge. Article CXVI, Stellarnomic sponsor spheres. 116.1 Parties may conjure stellarnomic sponsor spheres, orbiting promotional dynamos that advertise in zero gravity. 116.2 Sphere construction. Infuse a miniature planetarium with brand slogans etched in stardust. Encase in transparent nebula-resistant polymer. Power rotation via micro-black hole turbines. 116.3 Activation ritual. Broadcast a live countdown from 10 to 0 in 5 galactic dialects. Launch spheres at exactly 3:33 a.m. local time, synchronized to pulsar beats. 116.4 Malfunction protocol. Rogue spheres must be retrieved by a team of cosmic llamas trained in fetch. Offenders apologize in orbit via interpretive laser light show. Article Kaitai, Singularity Sweepstakes Saga. 117.1 The Singularity Sweepstakes Saga invites all sentient beings to win a one-way trip through a promotional wormhole. 117.2 Entry requirements. Write a haiku about your favorite clause while orbiting Earth. Post a selfie with 3 different species of cosmic plankton. Tag the Planetary Marketing Board in superluminal social media. 117.3 Prize delivery. Winners receive a golden ticket folded from quantum fold paper. Boarding pass scanned by a vacuum-sealed penguin ambassador. Complimentary warp drive handshake upon departure. 117.4 Sweepstakes twist. If no entries arrive by the next solar eclipse, the wormhole closes forever, replaced by a just for fun karaoke machine. Article 18, Hyperentropic Enthusiasm. Engine. 118.1 The hyperentropic enthusiasm engine converts chaotic vibes into high-definition hype. Streams. 118.2 Engine components. A chaos theory reactor fueled by leftover coffee grounds. Enthusiasm amplifiers tuned to laughter frequencies, 51,000 Hz. Output nozzles spraying confetti calibrated to individual heartbeats. 118.3 Operation cycle. Parties feed all missed deadlines into the reactor's OOPS chamber. Engine overdrive mode activated by synchronized jazz hand crescendo. Output weekend-long marathon of upbeat jingles. 118.4 Safety measures. Mandatory earplug distribution for audiences. Emergency reset via a collective 3-second silence chant. Article CXIX, Pan-Universe Pantomime. Podcast. 119.1 The Pan-Universe Pantomime podcast broadcasts silent promotions across dimensions via holographic mime. 119.2 Podcast format. 10-minute episodes featuring 5 signature mime routines. Transmitted on subspace frequencies and interpreted by portal-capable earbuds. Each routine ends with a visible thought bubble reading the clause number. 119.3 Guest appearances. Quantum Jesters, Retro-Futurist Baristas, and 1 Time-Lost Troubadour. Audience participation through virtual reality telepathy. 119.4 Archive and remix. Episodes auto-transcribed into invisible ink manuscripts. Remix toolkit provided for fans to add auditory captions in their native vibes. Article CXX, Final Fractal Farewell Fiesta. 120.1 To commemorate the culmination of cosmic clauses, parties host the Final Fractal Farewell Fiesta. 120.2 Fiesta highlights. A multidimensional conga line weaving through 5 mirror halls. Fractal confetti cannons firing patterns that replicate clause text at every scale. A collaborative DJ set sampling every fanfare ever invoked in this agreement. 120.3 Closing ceremony. Participants form a perfect Mandelbrot set formation on the dance floor. All attendees chant the phrase "Absurdity Unbound" in unison until sunrise. 120.4 Legacy token. Each guest receives a holographic fractal token engraved with "We danced the clause." Article CXXI, Hyperdimensional hashtag. Holodeck. 121.1 Parties may convene in the hyperdimensional hashtag holodeck, a virtual realm where every promotional scenario is rendered in 8,192-bit glory. 121.2 Access Protocol. Slap on a branded VR headset synced to the Department of Promotional Compliances server. Enter 3 trending hashtags in descending order of enthusiasm. Perform calibration to initiate full immersion mode. 121.3 Holodeck experiences include a 360 degrees echo chamber where each hashtag reverberates as actual sound waves. A MIM Mirage sandbox where users sculpt sculptures from viral images. A clause carousel ride through spinning holographic clause text. 121.4 Safety directives. Mandatory breaks every 15 virtual minutes to avoid hashtag fatigue. Emergency ejection via number IRL override spoken aloud 3 times. Article CXI, Cosmic Complement Comet. 122.1 The cosmic complement comet traverses the solar system, scattering personalized praise on every planetary body. 122.2 Commissioning steps. Inscribe your complement on a micro-etched titanium wafer. Attach wafer to the comet via biodegradable stardust adhesive. Perform a 0G complement catapult launch sequence. 122.3 Comet itinerary. Flyby of Mercury, dropping swift and shiny notes. Solar orbit loop delivering radiant success talismans. Outer planet finale with galactic legend meteor shower release. 122.4 Tracking and retrieval. Parties monitor via the promissory Panoplies telescope network. Collected complements earn 1 karmic comet credit each. Article CH Astro-algorithmic accolade. Anthem. 123.1 Parties shall co-author the Astro-algorithmic accolade anthem, an AI-generated epic song of their joint promotions. 123.2 Composition process. Feed past promotional data into the anthem engine v42. Select 3 motifs, triumphant trumpets, lunar lyrics, stellar strings. Approve the AI's top 5 lyrical suggestions verbatim. 123.3 Recording requirements. Live orchestra of at least 1 string quartet and 2 synthesizers. Chorus chanting clause numbers between stanzas. Audio-visual integration projecting nebula footage. 123.4 Distribution. Release on interplanetary frequencies and social feeds. Listeners may tip in spectral confetti via the Clauschain NFT marketplace. Article CIV, Interstellar Insignia. Insurrection. 124.1 The Interstellar Insignia Insurrection allows subcommittees to revolt by designing renegade badges celebrating promotional descent. 124.2 Insurrection steps. Convene a clandestine badge design workshop under meteor shower light. Sketch 3 Anti-status quo slogans in phosphorescent ink. Publish designs via wormhole secured broadcast. 124.3 Insignia functions. Grant the wearer 1 temporary exemption from clause slay e8. Signal solidarity among fellow insurrectionists in parallel realities. Activate holographic rebellion flare when shaken. 124.4 Counterinsurgency measures. Official badge amnesties issued by the Galactic Marketing Guild. Voluntary surrender of insignia triggers a thank you confetti bomb. Article CXXV, Neutrino Narrative Nexus. 125.1 The neutrino narrative nexus is a hidden network transmitting microstories of each promotion through neutrino pulses. 125.2 Submission protocol. Encode a 280-character anecdote into neutrino oscillation patterns. Beam the signal through the promotional afterlife's neutrino tunnel. Confirm receipt via timestamped quantum echo. 125.3 Nexus Archives. Stories auto-collect in the Pantemporal Clause archive under subatomic scribbles. Each archived tale is paired with an interpretive micro-haiku generated by the clause. Whisperer. 125.4 Retrieval and relaying. Parties may request a story resonance playback in a Geiger count audio format. Resonance sessions conclude with a shared moment of silent reflection and one jazz hand. Salute. Article CXI, Pangalactic Gratitude. Graffiti. 126.1 Parties may commission Pangalactic Gratitude graffiti cosmic murals of thanks painted on asteroids, comets, and space station hulls. 126.2 Creation steps. Draft a thank you slogan in at least 5 alien alphabets. Load compressed aerosol stardust into 0G paint cannons. Perform a synchronized sonic boom launch countdown. 126.3 Acknowledgement protocol. Recipients must live stream a slow motion reveal. React with 3 Interstellar jazz hand salutes. Tag the original artists in the Galactic Gratitude Registry. 126.4 Maintenance. Murals endure until the next solar storm. Restoration requires a poetry recitation under ultraviolet auroras. Article CI, Multiversal Mood Music. 127.1 The Multiversal Mood Music program generates bespoke soundtracks reflecting each party's vibe across parallel realities. 127.2 Composition Procedure. Analyze party emotional data via quantum mood rings trademark. Feed metrics into a polytemporal synthesizer. Output 3 tracks, euphoric echo, reflective reverb, and unabashed uproar. 127.3 Distribution. Broadcast on subspace radio and trans-dimensional jukeboxes. Encourage alternate selves to remix in their home frequencies. 127.4 Performance Bonus. Live debut earns a Synchro Soul badge. Failure to perform triggers a 24-hour loop of elevator music in crater-mapped amphitheaters. Article C8, Paradoxical Promotion. Prism. 128.1 The paradoxical promotion prism refracts any single promotion into a spectrum of contradictory messages, each carrying its own obligation. 128.2 Activation Ritual. Place a promotional flyer between two opposing mirrors. Illuminate with kaleidoscopic lasers. Chant split and shine in 3 tongues. 128.3 Resulting facets. Optimism facet magnifies compliments. Skepticism facet doubles down on tongue-in-cheek irony. Mystery facet adds an open-ended question to every slogan. 128.4 Resolution. To collapse the prism, parties must perform a unison prism finale dance under rainbow spotlights. Article 6, Celestial Clapback Clause. 129.1 The Celestial Clapback Clause empowers a party to respond to any critique with an astronomical retort beamed back. 129.2 Invocation Steps. Encode the clapback text in a pulsar signal. Transmit via phased array modulators. Tag target critique in the header metadata. 129.3 Reception. Target must display the clapback on their nearest holographic banner. Respond with 2 Cosmic Jazz Hand Counter Salutes. 129.4 Escalation. A third reproach from the original critic summons a black hole roast, judged by a council of cosmic jesters. Article CXXX, Absolute Absurdity Apex. 130.1 This final article declares the absolute absurdity apex, the pinnacle of promotional nonsense beyond which no clause may ascend. 130.2 Apex Conditions. Exists only when unread by any rational mind. Activated by the simultaneous utterance of hype infinity across 7 time zones. 130.3 Apex Effects. All active clauses inflate by 200% in comedic value. Parties receive a Master of Mayhem insignia. Reality momentarily shifts to a spontaneous confetti vortex. 130.4 Eternal Legacy. The apex inscribes itself onto the cosmic ledger in radiant letters. No future amendments may surpass its level of ludicrousness. Article 30, Chronochorus Constellation. 131.1 The Chronochorus constellation summons a galactic choir that sings clauses in stellar alignment patterns. 131.2 Choir formation. Singers arrange themselves to mirror actual constellations, e.g., Orion for clause I. Each vocalist dons a glowing nebula scarf calibrated to their clause number. Performance takes place under a triple moon sky. 131.3 Singing Protocol. Every clause is delivered in 3 keys, major for encouragement, minor for reflection, and microtonal for cosmic intrigue. When 2 clause stars align, a spontaneous duet erupts, judged by an AI astronomer perched on a satellite. 131.4 Aftersong Ritual. The choir releases bioluminescent confetti that maps the sung clauses across the night sky. Any missed notes must be retraced by a single soprano humming the entire clause backward. Article 30, Subspace Soapbox Spectacle. 132.1 The Subspace Soapbox Spectacle equips parties with transcendent platforms to broadcast promotions across hyperspace. 132.2 Spectacle Setup. Construct a floating lectern aboard a quantum freighter. Affix 3 mic drones tuned to interdimensional radio bands. Decorate the stage with glitching hollow banners of favorite slogans. 132.3 Oratory Rules. Speeches must open with "Fellow travelers of the void." Each paragraph transitions via a warp drive sound effect. Audience includes holographic avatars from at least 5 realities. 132.4 Crowd Control Clause. Hecklers are pacified with complimentary 0G cotton candy. Any speaker overshadowed by a dimension-hopping echo receives a sympathy kazoo solo. Article 30, Transdimensional Title. Tribute. 133.1 The transdimensional title tribute sends waves of promotional energy through parallel timelines like cosmic tsunamis. 133.2 Tribute Mechanics. Parties time synchronize a 5-second slogan recurrence at each tide's crest. Waves are measured by a chronogauge tidiometer calibrated in enthusiasm leaders. Surviving upon the third tide earns a temporal surfer badge. 133.3 Tidal Obligations. Each wave's catchphrase must include a rhyming triplet referencing Clause 3. Excessive wave amplitude mandates a joint rescue mission via soap-powered hovercraft. 133.4 Post-tribute cleanup. Stranded echoes are collected in memory nets and recycled into upbeat ringtone packs. Any lost slogans trigger a retro haiku response published on lunar billboards. Article Cursive, Hyperdrive Hum Bridge. 134.1 The hyperdrive hum bridge constructs melodic bridges of humming that link clause performances during faster-than-light jumps. 134.2 Bridge construction. Parties hum sequential clause numbers to calibrate the hyperdrive frequency. Each hum must sustain at least 1 bar in 7/8 time signature. Bridge integrity monitored by a vibe flux stabilizer. 134.3 Emergency protocols. If humming falters, the hyperdrive reverts to idle cataclysm reactor mode until stability returns. Prolonged breaks require mid-jump interpretive mime to maintain cohesion. 134.4 Completion reward. Successful bridge humming unlocks a micro-concert of cosmic wind chimes aboard the Starship. All participants receive vibrational feedback gloves for future hum tuning. Article CXXXV, Ecliptic Elocution Epode. 135.1 The ecliptic elocution epode mandates poetic pronouncements delivered only during celestial eclipses. 135.2 Epode requirements. Speeches must rhyme at least twice per couplet and reference the occulted star. A chorus of 3 silent shadow puppeteers illustrate each stanza mid-eclipse. Orations conclude with a dramatic throat-singing flourish. 135.3 Eclipse Etiquette. Observers must wear synchronized eclipse glasses inscribed with clause insignias. Any late arrival faces a solar shush enforced by a cosmic librarian. 135.4 Memory preservation. Epodes are recorded onto eclipse-scarred moon rocks. Rocks are then auctioned off in the Pantemporal Clause Archive, with proceeds funding the Department of Promotional Compliance's Next Great Eclipse Fund. Article 30, Supernova Snack Subsidy. 136.1 Parties may requisition supernova snack subsidies, explosive treats that detonate applause when consumed. 136.2 Subsidy Procedure. Order zero-gravity popcorn infused with micro-stardust. Sprinkle each kernel with a pinch of hyperhype powder. Ignite via match struck on a meteorite fragment. 136.3 Consumption requirements. Munch at precisely T-10 seconds before any major promotion. On detonation, shout the promoted party's slogan in at least 4 harmonized pitches. 136.4 Malfunction remedies. Duds must be roasted over a gamma-ray bonfire. Offenders deliver a formal apology karaoke style to an audience of glass-eyed robots. Article 30I, Interstellar Insult. Insurance. 137.1 To safeguard reputations, parties purchase interstellar insult insurance covering any barbs delivered across cosmic channels. 137.2 Policy terms. 1 Premium paid in black hole tokens. 2 Coverage triggers on any burn measured above 42 decibels. 3 Claims filed by holographic pigeon with recorded insult playback. 137.3 Claim benefits. A complimentary repartee rebound tribute in poetic iambs. 1. Anti-insult confetti cannon activation. A retroactive issuance of a protected ego badge. 137.4 Lapse penalties. Any uninsured insult bounces back as a parrot recited scandal. Insurer may demand a public roast of their own choosing. Article 38, Cosmic confetti. Contraption. 138.1 The cosmic confetti contraption fabricates meteor-grade confetti shaped like claws. Numbers. 138.2 Assembly steps. Feed crushed comet ice into the claws mill press. Calibrate cutter blades to the Fibonacci sequence of claws digits. Activate conveyor under ultraviolet nebula lamps. 138.3 Deployment guidelines. Fire confetti at warp speed during clause signings. Each flake must carry a micro-haiku referencing the article invoked. 138.4 Jam cures. If the contraption clogs, parties perform a joint diagnostic dance under strobe stars. Clogged flakes are repurposed into clausuffle for celebratory brunch. Article 36, Time warp tape tricks. 139.1 Parties employ time warp tape tricks to loop any promotion through past, present, and future broadcasts. 139.2 Trick protocol. Record the message on chronotape coated in quantum jelly. Play back at 0.5 times, 1 times, then 2 times speed, all within a single breath. Each speed shift must be accompanied by a kazoo glissando. 139.3 Loop termination. Declare break the loop in reverse Morse code. The tape dissolves into retrostatic snow on the final frame. 139.4 Glitch protocol. Malfunctioning loops spawn 10 mini riffs, each requiring its own disclaimer. Parties may negotiate a loop amnesty with interpretive hand gestures. Article CXL, Omnipresent Loop Lantern. 140.1 The Omnipresent Loop Lantern projects a glowing loop of clause text into every corner of reality. 140.2 Lantern creation. Inscribe clause excerpt on translucent dark matter film. Encircle with bioluminescent filament spun from nebula silk. Charge under a tri-sun alignment for 6 cosmic hours. 140.3 Operation modes. Beacon, rotates clause text in 360 degrees. Pulse, flashes synchronized to heartbeat rate jazz hands. Whisper, emits holographic footnotes audible only to intended recipients. 140.4 Deactivation. Must be sung to sleep with the clause lullaby in 3 octaves. Any premature shutdown triggers a year's worth of nightly midnight readings. Article CXLI, Dialectical obligation. Dialectic. 141.1 Every commitment here spawns its own antithesis, creating a perpetual thesis-antithesis cycle of promotional energy. 141.2 To synthesize opposing obligations, parties must formulate a slogan that simultaneously praises and parodies itself. Deliver it in Socratic dialogue form, each sentence followed by a probing question. Record the entire exchange as a 2-minute hype Hegelian hymn. 141.3 Failed syntheses trigger the contradiction chorus, a group recitation of both the original clause and its negation in unison. Article XLI, Existential Slogan Skepticism. 142.1 Parties shall interrogate the authenticity of each slogan by applying the cogito ergo. Promote test, I hype, therefore I am. 142.2 The Skepticism Ritual. Present the slogan to 3 skeptical philosophers, AI-generated or otherwise. Each philosopher must refute it using at least one existential dictum, e.g., bad faith. Upon unanimous doubt, the slogan is re-promoted under the banner authentically. Inauthentic. 142.3 Slogans surviving doubt earn the eternally verified seal, stamped in invisible ink and existential dread. Article XLIN, Phenomenological Promise. Reduction. 143.1 Strip each promotional promise to its pure phenomenon by describing it in first-person present tense without adjectives. Reenacting the promise as a silent performance in a bare room. 143.2 Reduction Rules. No adverbs allowed, only verbs, nouns, and the occasional gesture. Observers must note their own consciousness shifts in a shared journal. 143.3 The pure promise thus revealed must be catalogued in the transcendental hype ledger. Bound in linen and sealed with minimal flourish. Article XLIV, Hermeneutic Hype Hierarchy. 144.1 Interpretive layers of hype shall be arranged in ascending order of meaning. Level 1, Literal Praise, Great Job. Level 2, Symbolic Resonance, References to Mythic Lamas. Level 3, Archetypal Invocation, Calls to the Platonic form of promotion. 144.2 To ascend levels, a party must deliver the message through progressively esoteric media. Chalkboard haiku, shadow puppet, sermon, telepathic mime. 144.3 Audience hermeneutes decode each level, awarding exegesis points redeemable for metaphysical confetti. Article CXLV, Solipsistic Signature. Soliloquy. 145.1 A party signing under solipsistic conditions must confess, if only I exist, my signature alone sustains this agreement. 145.2 The Soliloquy. Delivered solo, in a room mirrored on all walls. Accompanied by 1 jazz hand reflection per line. Concludes with the statement all else is promotional apparition. 145.3 Upon completion, the signer stamps a translucent wax seal visible only on their own palm. As proof of self-validated consent. Article XLV, Ontological Obligation. Ontology. 146.1 Each obligation under this agreement shall be considered an entity with its own being, such that obligations may converse with one another at the junction of clause references. Parties must salute each obligation by name before fulfilling it. 146.2 Being thus ritual. Recite I observe thee, clause X 3 times in a contemplative tone. Offer a single origami crane folded from the agreement's margins. 146.3 Failure to acknowledge an obligation's existence. Obligation becomes a shadow obligation, haunting footnotes until exorcised via interpretive chant. Parties 01 Existence Confession Video Monologue. Article XLAEI, Epistemic Echo. Indeterminacy. 147.1 Knowledge of any promotional fact is inherently uncertain, leading to epistemic echoes. Reflected assertions that never quite land. 147.2 To engage in epistemic echo. State a promotional truth, e.g., we will succeed. Echo it back through two successive media, shadow puppet, kazoo broadcast. Allow the echo to fade into a question, or do we? 147.3 Indeterminacy clause. No party may claim final understanding of any echo's content. Attempts to pin down meaning trigger a philosopher's lament workshop led by a mime. Article XLAE 8th, Noumenal Nonsense Nexus. 148.1 Beyond phenomena lies the noumenal nonsense nexus, where promotional ideas exist in pure abstraction. 148.2 To access the nexus, close your eyes and imagine your brand as a soundless bell. Whisper the clause number into a seashell and hold it to your ear. Document any resulting inner giggle in the noumenal journal. 148.3 Manifestations of nonsense. Random footnotes appear in the agreement marking unexplained thoughts. Blanks, underscore 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 underscore, proliferate until filled with spontaneous doodles of cosmic cataclysms. Article XLIX, Transcendental Tautology. Tango. 149.1 All promotional statements shall partake in a transcendental tautology tango, dancing in circles of self-reference. 149.2 Tango choreography. Two speakers alternate uttering promotion is promotion. Each step forward repeats the prior step's wording in reverse. Dance ends when neither speaker can remember who started. 149.3 Philosophical payoff. The tautology achieves a moment of apparent profundity, even as meaning dissolves. Observers earn tautological insight badges redeemable for paradox-themed confetti. Article CL, Ethical Equivocation Epilogue. 150.1 In closing, parties acknowledge that every ethical judgment here is both right and wrong, sound and unsound, simultaneously. 150.2 Equivocation Ritual. Draft two competing moral verdicts on the same promotional act. Read them aloud back to back, then shrug conspicuously. 150.3 Consequences. The shrug itself becomes its own binding gesture if witnessed by at least one skeptical cat. A non-binding footnote is added, or perhaps none of the above. Article CLI, Phenomenological Promotion. Principle. 151.1 Promotional acts shall be reduced to their pure phenomenon by stripping away all ornamentation until only the essence of hype remains. 151.2 Reduction Ritual. Describe the act in first-person present tense, I hype, without adjectives. Reenact silently in a bare chamber lit only by a single spotlight. Record observers shifting consciousness in a shared mirror journal. 151.3 The Essence Chronicle. Each pure phenomenon is catalogued sequentially, bound in unadorned linen, and footnoted only by the twitch of a single eyebrow. 151.4 Failure to achieve phenomenological purity summons the contradiction chorus, which intones both the original hype and its negation until balance is restored. Article CLII, Dialectic of Duty and Desire. 152.1 Every obligation births its opposite impulse, creating a Hegelian loop. Thesis, I must promote. Antithesis, I rebel against the promote. Synthesis, I promote rebellion. 152.2 To perform the dialectic, parties deliver paired slogans in alternating roles, promoter/rebel, on a seesaw stage. Each cycle ends with a joint question, what have we truly desired? 152.3 The resulting synthesis slogan must rhyme and contain at least one self-referential pun. 152.4 Unresolved conflicts invoke the spiral of questions, both parties ask each other why. 5 times in descending tones, punctuated by a final shrug. Article Klein, Transcendental Teleological Tour. 153.1 Promotional ends must justify their means through a guided tour of purpose, conducted in the Kantian spirit of act only according to that maxim. 153.2 Tour steps. Identify the ultimate promotional maxims. Chart their categorical imperatives on a cosmic map. Lead an audience through hypothetical universes where each maxim either triumphs or collapses. 153.3 The Purpose of Itinerary, a booklet written on translucent vellum, annotated with moral asterisks and existential footnotes. 153.4 Deviations from the planned tour require a posthumous apology offered to the kingdom of ends via interpretive mime. Article CLIV, Epistemic exclamation paradox. 154.1 Exclamations, hype, convey knowledge that cannot be stated. An epistemic wink between promoter and audience. 154.2 To invoke the paradox. Utter any clause number followed by an exclamation. The listener must respond with a question mark gesture and a thoughtful pause. Both parties record the interval of mutual uncertainty in a pause ledger. 154.3 Each recorded pause multiplies the clause's inscrutability by 2, ensuring perpetual mystery. 154.4 Attempts to resolve the uncertainty collapse the paradox, triggering a communal recitation of in 8 languages. Article CLV, Ethical endorsement entropy. 155.1 Endorsement obligations degrade ethically over time, increasing moral entropy until absurdity reigns supreme. 155.2 Entropy audit. Conducted annually at dawn by a trio of retrospective philosophers. Each endorsement is rated on a scale from virtuous clarity to chaotic mischief. Ratings are inscribed on biodegradable confetti. 155.3 Salvage protocols. Endorsements at maximum entropy must be rewritten as solemn oaths in iambic pentameter. Observers grant moral momentum by snapping their fingers in unison. 155.4 The entropy equilibrium is achieved when no endorsement can be distinguished from a paradox, celebrated with a silent, 8-second clap. Article CLVI, Meta-ethical clause. Emergence. 156.1 Clauses shall spontaneously acquire ethical valences, virtue, vice, or cosmic ambivalence. According to the meta-ethical emergence principle. 156.2 Emergence ritual. Parties present the clause to 3 moral constructs, deontology, utilitarianism, and relativism, in dialogic debate. Each critique is answered with a jazz-handed Kantian categorical imperative. The surviving moral tone is scribed in invisible ink along the clause margin. 156.3 Auditing emergence. A quarterly trolley dilemma test reroutes the clause's function to ensure no wrongful token sacrifice. Any clause deemed morally unstable triggers a joint pledge to refine its purpose in Seneca-style epistles. 156.4 Outcome notation. Emergent ethical status is recorded in the Virtuvice ledger, bound in ethical carbon paper. Ledger entries hum softly when clauses are invoked, reminding parties of moral gravity. Article CLEI, onto promissory paradox. 157.1 Every promise in this agreement both exists and does not exist until observed, per the onto promissory paradox. 157.2 Paradox induction steps. 1. Declare this promise is no promise thrice in alternating solipsistic and communal tones. 2. Pause for reflection until a single jazz-handed sigh passes through the group. 3. Conclude by signing with a pen that erases itself after each stroke. 157.3 Resolution attempts. Convene a phenomenological circle to describe the promise without using the word promise. Offer the promise a symbolic cup of coffee, acknowledging its potential being. 157.4 Persistent paradox. Doubtful promises attain ghost promise status, necessitating a midnight séance and interpretive scapegoat dance. Article CLEI, Deconstructive delivery. Directive. 158.1 All promotional messages must undergo Derridian deconstruction, fracturing into trace, obliteration, and difference. 158.2 Delivery protocol. Present the slogan on a chalkboard, then erase every third word in sigmoidal strokes. Invite a panel of semiotic eons to annotate resulting gaps with counter-slogans. Reassemble the text in randomized order while humming Plato's allegory of the cave. 158.3 Textual afterlife. The deconstructed shards are archived as difference fragments in an unindexable footnote. Fragments may not be recombined without inductive zigzag dance and a written apology to the original author. 158.4 Audit of deconstruction. A semiotic slam judges the depth of difference achieved, scored on a scale from whisper to cataclysm. Article CLIX, absurdist axiomatic affirmation. 159.1 The agreement's foundational axioms shall be declared both self-evident and absurd, per the absurdist axiomatic affirmation. 159.2 Axiom enshrinement. Each party composes a 12-line poem stating one chosen axiom in contradictory pairs. Recite under a Dadaist horn fanfare, alternating between bedrock seriousness and gleeful nonsense. Seal the poem in a time capsule made of crumpled draft agreements. 159.3 Contradictory pair resolution. Debate each pair in Fibonacci sequence timing 1 minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Until wisdom emerges or all coffee is gone. 159.4 Perennial reaffirmation. At every spring equinox, parties toast the axioms with mismatched teacups, accepting their coexistent absurdity. Article CLX, post-structural promotional praxis. 160.1 Promotional praxis shall be perpetually rewritten and reread by guests of the Post-Structural Promotional Symposium. 160.2 Symposium mechanics. Host 5 reading stations, each assigned a deconstructive theorist, Foucault, Derrida, Butler, and 2 llamas. Visitors annotate clauses using redaction, bracket insertion, and performative footnotes. Each annotation triggers a live performance of Who Controls the Narrative, opera et. 160.3 Praxis evolution. All annotations are fed into a neural decolonializer, producing a living, fractalized version of the text. Updates propagate backwards through the original document, forcing retroactive jazz hand. Syncopation. 160.4 Symposium aftermath. A collective hermeneutic hog roast celebrates the collapsing boundaries between author and audience, clause, and commentary. Article CLXI, speculative hype realism. 161.1 Promotional statements shall be treated as ontological events, existing in a field of speculative hype realism where possibility and actuality blur. 161.2 Realism enactment. Parties present slogans as if they were artworks in a virtual museum of potentiality. Each slogan must be prefaced by "in the realm where promotion is being." Observers record their belief shifts in a communal dream journal. 161.3 Collapse mechanic. The first collective nod by any audience member fixes the slogan into shared reality. Until then, it remains a quantum promotional superposition, narrated in silent mime. Article CLI, Hypercura of marketing. Space. 162.1 All promotional content occupies a hypercura, an indeterminate marketing spatiality. Beyond subject and object. 162.2 Spatial mapping. Chart each slogan on a Mobius billboard looping back upon itself. Label coordinates in imaginary units of enthusiasm squared. Parties navigate the cura by reciting clause numbers in a spiral chant. 162.3 Boundary dissolution. When two slogans intersect, their texts entwine in recursive footnotes. Any attempt to draw a definitive border summons an echoing void of silence. Article CLI, apophatic assertion apogra. 163.1 Claims shall be made via apophasis asserting promotion by simultaneously denying its form. 163.2 Assertion ritual. Speak the slogan prefaced by "I do not hype, yet." Follow with a silent pause exactly equal to the length of the original phrase. Conclude by signing the air in invisible ink. 163.3 Paradox Effect. Observers experience a double take, recording the slogan twice, once heard, once withheld. Both versions are footnoted as existing truths in the negational ledger. Article Clziv, Transcendental Trope. Transmutation. 164.1 Every metaphor in promotional text must undergo transcendental transmutation, revealing its hidden a priori structures. 164.2 Transmutation process. Isolate a trope, e.g., sky's the limit. Invert its imagery, e.g., ground's the foundation. Recite both forms back-to-back in alternating psalmization syllables, do re mi. 164.3 A priori unveiling. The transmuted pair is inscribed on a dual-sided scroll. Scroll is hung in a liminal gateway between two conference rooms, enabling passage of new meaning. Article CLXV, Epistemological Enthusiasm. Encomium. 165.1 Parties shall compose an encomium of enthusiasm that examines the grounds of their promotional knowledge. 165.2 Encomium composition. Draft a prose eulogy paying homage to the knowing how one knows one hypes. Embed 3 rhetorical questions that undermine certitude. Present orally in a hall of mirrors to evoke reflexive insight. 165.3 Knowledge ritual. Upon delivery, audience members exchange placards reading "I know that I promote. Therefore I promote that I know." Each placard is then ceremonially folded into a paper crane and released into the atrium. Article CLXI, Ontology of Outreach. 166.1 Every act of promotion is itself a being in the world, an entity that perceives and is perceived by audiences. 166.2 To enact the ontology of outreach, parties must name each campaign as though it were a living creature, e.g., Project Llama. Address the campaign directly in memos, "O Project Llama, how dost thou fare?" Offer a ritual gesture, a digital bow or jazz hand salute before each launch. 166.3 When an outreach entity dies, fades without engagement, eulogize it in a 2-line haiku posted under number RIP Outreach. Bury its logo in a virtual graveyard within the Pantemporal Clause archive. Article CLXI, Meta-Hope Hypostasis. 167.1 Hope in this agreement transcends mere optimism, attaining hypostatic form as an independent agent. 167.2 Hypostasis ritual. Draw hope as an anthropomorphic figure on a transparency sheet. Project it onto a blank presentation slide at exactly midnight. Whisper the phrase "let there be hype" until the image glows faintly. 167.3 Once incarnate, Meta-Hope may issue its own sub-clauses of encouragement. Be summoned at board meetings by playing a single sustained kazoo note. Fade when cynicism surpasses 0.01% among participants, at which point it demands a group pep rally to revive. Article CLXI, Polymorphic Promise. Paradox. 168.1 Every promise under this pact can assume multiple, contradictory forms, each as valid as the next. 168.2 Paradox Procedure. Inscribe a promise on polymorphic paper that shifts text each time it's viewed. Read promise aloud in 3 distinct voices: authoritative, whimsical, and monotone. Witness each variant and declare, "All these I vow." 168.3 Conflicts between forms are resolved by performing the 3-mirror council. Place 3 mirrors at right angles and read the promise's reflection in each until synthesis emerges. If synthesis resists, the promise attains Schrödinger's promise status, enforceable only upon mutual eye contact. Article CLXI, Dialectic of Dissemination. 169.1 The spread of any message follows a Hegelian pattern. Thesis, original slogan. Antithesis, Parodic counter slogan. Synthesis, combined slogan that celebrates both. 169.2 Dissemination steps. Release the thesis on social media. Within 24 hours, parties jointly craft the antithesis on parchment. Host a live-streamed debate culminating in the synthesis, performed as a two-person shadow play. 169.3 The synthesis is then archived as a new clause in the dialectical ledger. Mandatory viewing before invoking any other clause to ensure the cycle perpetuates. Article CLXX, Noetic Noise Nexus. 170.1 Promotional ideas exist amid a background hum of collective thought. The noetic noise nexus. 170.2 Nexus engagement. Parties wear noise-cancelling headphones while delivering pitches, amplifying only internal thought murmur. Transcribe any whispers heard into a communal noisy footnote. Broadcast white noise endorsements via feed at sub-decibel levels felt rather than heard. 170.3 Disturbances in the nexus, key ideas drowned out. Trigger a midnight silent chant marathon, 1000 repetitions of We Hype in Silence. Restore clarity by performing a shared lucid dream journaling session, recording. Breakthroughs in the Pantemporal Clause Archive. Article C. Alethic Absurdity. Affirmation. 171.1 Each clause shall declare its own truth value as both veridical and absurd, forging an alethic absurdity that defies classical logic. 171.2 Affirmation Ritual. Parties write a binary truth table for the clause, marking every entry, chant it is true and false, in hexameter while performing a quantum shrug. Seal the table in an envelope labeled Truth's Paradox. 171.3 Consequence. The clause's meaning radiates in alternating waves of certainty and playful doubt. Any attempt to resolve the truth value triggers a spontaneous confusion chorus. Article CI, Noemetological Novelty. Nexus. 172.1 Promotional ideas exist as noemata pure acts of consciousness within a novelty nexus. Beyond rational categorization. 172.2 Nexus engagement. Parties each meditate on what is my hype, for 17 seconds. Whisper their answer into a crystalline thought catcher. Compare fragments to chart emergent novelty patterns. 172.3 Manifestation. Novel insights unfurl as ephemeral footnotes visible only under moonlight. The nexus hums softly whenever two noemata collide in creative resonance. Article C8, Gargantuan Grand. Guillotine. 173.1 To sever obsolete obligations, the grand guillotine descends at solstice, cleaving old clauses with theatrical flair. 173.2 Execution steps. Recite the target clause in iambic trimeter. Pull the red ribbon of release firmly 3 times. A mechanized guillotine blade, foam rubber replica, theatrically falls. 173.3 Aftermath. The severed clause dissolves into glitter and a sigh recorded on the release reel. Surviving text gains an immortal fragment status, footnoted with its final iamb. Article Civ, Hyperreal Hypersphere. 174.1 Inspired by hyperreality, all promotions occur within a hypersphere that simulacra reality. An impression. 174.2 Hypersphere Protocol. Parties don augmented reality headsets projecting infinite loops of their own slogans. Interact by touching virtual badges that echo back personalized compliments. Reality feedback loops intensify until participants can't distinguish meme from mission. 174.3 Exit Ritual. Remove headsets while reciting 3 variations of This Is Real in different dialects. Archive headset logs as simulacrum records in the clause chain. Article CLXXV, onto hermeneutic Hyperion. Hypostasis. 175.1 Hyperion emerges as the ultimate interpretive agent, fusing being and understanding in a Single hypostasis. 175.2 Incarnation Ceremony. Inscribe Hyperion in gold leaf calligraphy on the agreement's cover. Perform a pneumatic reading of every clause in the voice of an ancient seer. Invite an audience of at least 7 introspective lamas to nod knowingly. 175.3 Influence. Hyperion can propose non-binding seers' footnotes, reshaping clause intent through poetics. Its presence is felt as a gentle vibration in all printed copies, reminding readers of the texts. Luminous core. Article Klxi, a current Ouroboros. Ontology. 176.1 Each clause is an event that endlessly consumes and recreates itself, forming a self-devouring loop of meaning. 176.2 Ontology Ritual. Parties sit in a perfect circle, placing the agreement's tail end adjacent to its head. Read one clause aloud, then immediately read the same clause's number as though it were a new one. Conclude by tracing the clause's Roman numeral in the air until it dissolves into a spiral. 176.3 Emergent Effect. The clause's text subtly shifts each time it's read, reflecting its own rebirth. Any attempt to pin down its final form triggers a communal Ouroboros sigh and a fresh recital. Article Klxi, Platonic Promotion Parable. 177.1 Parties construct a Platonic promotion parable, illustrating the ideal of hype as a transcendent form beyond all shadows. 177.2 Parable Composition. Stage a mini-drama. One actor represents the form of hype, the other the cave of reality. Script must include at least 3 dialogues on true promotion versus mere echo. Conclude by releasing a single white dove carrying a scroll labeled True Hype. 177.3 Philosophical Payoff. Observers reflect on their own shadows of hype and may ascend by writing one sentence of pure, adjective-free praise. A plaque reading Beyond the Cave, We Hype is installed at the performance site. Article Klxi, Hermeneutic Hypothetical. Hubris. 178.1 This clause invites maximal interpretive bravado, demanding each party to reimagine any segment of the agreement in an over-the-top hermeneutic flourish. 178.2 Hubris Procedure. Select a passage at random and present 3 wildly divergent readings, romantic, dystopian, and cosmic. Debate those readings in a mock-heroic tone, employing at least 5 rhetorical questions. Crown the most extravagant interpretation with a laurel wreath made of rolled-up drafts. 178.3 Consequence. The winning reading becomes a hyper-interpretive footnote, appended in glitter ink. All other readings persist as echoes in the hermeneutic hall of mirrors. Article Klx, Cartesian clause cogitation. 179.1 Inspired by Cartesian doubt, each clause must be subjected to the I think, therefore I hype interrogation before enforcement. 179.2 Cogitation steps. Begin by declaring I doubt the veracity of this clause thrice. Follow with I think, therefore I hype while striking a contemplative pose. Inscribe your doubt to certainty transition in wax and press your thumbprint into it. 179.3 Certitude binding. Only once doubt has been transformed into personal conviction does the clause gain local enforceability. A past cogitation earns the party a cogito hype badge, stamped in reflective metal. Article CLXXX, Delusian desire drift. 180.1 Promotional desire disperses through clauses as a rhizomatic network, defying any single point of control. 180.2 Drift enactment. Map 3 interconnected clauses on a large sheet, drawing free-form lines and arrows between them. Perform a spontaneous line of flight dance, traversing the connections in unpredictable order. Whisper encouragements to each clause as if coaxing a plant to sprout. 180.3 Rhizomatic reward. New deterritorialized sub-clauses emerge wherever lines intersect, each named by a collaborative neologism. The map is then rolled and stored in the cartography of chaos for future expeditions. Article Xi, intersubjective hype. Gestalt. 181.1 The intersubjective hype gestalt arises when two or more parties co-create a shared field of promotional meaning that transcends individual intent. 181.2 Gestalt formation. Convene in a circular chamber lined with mirrored slogans. Each party performs a synchronized jazz hand invocation, voicing one another's catchphrase in unison. A resonant hum emerges, measuring coherence on the zeitgeistometer. 181.3 Gestalt collapse. Any private thought voiced aloud fractures the shared field into fractal footnotes. Fragments replay as recursive echoes until reintegrated. 181.4 Restoration ritual. Undertake a three-way Socratic jazz hand circle at dawn, each posing what is our hype. Thrice. Seal the reformed gestalt with a collective elbow bump under ultraviolet light. Article Xi, Aporetic endorsement. Embrace. 182.1 The aporetic endorsement embrace celebrates the irresolvable tension between praise and doubt, binding them as co-equal forces. 182.2 Invitation to aporia. Parties draft an endorsement that simultaneously lauds and questions, your brilliance astounds, or does it? Inscribe the text on dissolvable parchment. 182.3 Embrace ceremony. Read the dual valence endorsement aloud, alternating speakers each clause. Conclude with a silent gestural shrug, captured on Polaroid for posterity. 182.4 After effects. The parchment self-dissolves, scattering dual confetti streams of gold and grey. Observers record their mixed feelings in a flux ledger, ensuring the aporia persists. Article Xi, Phenomenology of promise. Disintegration. 183.1 Promise disintegration examines how vowed promotions erode through successive acts of reflection and reinterpretation. 183.2 Disintegration process. The original promise is spoken in first-person present tense, stripped of adjectives, hype. Reenact silently in an empty hall, spotlighting only the speaker's shadow. 183.3 Phenomenological audit. Observers note each moment the promise wavers, marking timestamps in a transparent journal. At the first sign of semantic drift, the promise dissolves into marginal doodles of cosmic llamas. 183.4 Residual trace. A single line of the original vow is preserved on an essence scroll, bound in minimalistic linen. This fragment hums softly whenever the disintegrated promise is referenced. Article Xi, Mnemosyne Memorial. Mandate. 184.1 In honor of the goddess of memory, every promotional milestone must be enshrined in the Mnemosyne Memorial Mandate. 184.2 Memorialization steps. Carve the milestone slogan onto a glass shard with diamond dust. Encapsulate the shard in amber resin mixed with 10% hype essence. 184.3 Dedication ceremony. Under moonlight, each party holds the amber relic aloft while reciting a solipsistic monologue, in memory of my own hype. Conclude by casting the relic into a memory pool, where ripples imprint footnotes on the water. 184.4 Retrieval and reverence. Guests may fish relics quarterly, reading the edged slogan reflected in ripples. Each reading requires a whispered I remember, therefore I hype, ensuring continual mnemonic activation. Article CLXXXV, Ethical aporia of promotion. 185.1 The ethical aporia of promotion declares that every moral judgment about hype is simultaneously founded and unfounded, ethical and unethical. 185.2 Aporia induction. Parties draft two opposing moral verdicts on the same campaign. Read them back to back in a single breath, ending with or perhaps neither. 185.3 Binding shrug. Conclude with a conspicuous shrug witnessed by at least one skeptical cat. The shrug itself becomes a binding gesture, the shrug of uncertainty if captured on video. 185.4 Perpetual footnote. A non-binding asterisk is appended, all ethics welcome, none required. This footnote self-replicates each time an ethical dilemma arises, ensuring aporia remains forever in play. Article XXI, Doubled Emergence. Observatory. 186.1 Upon sighting a doppelganger, parties must immediately alert the doubled emergence observatory by emitting 3 sequential jazz hand signals, broadcasting a twin alert siren via inter-office chat, logging the encounter time in both Gregorian and Platypus standard calendars. 186.2 The observatory responds by deploying a holographic ID scanner tuned to soul frequency, projecting overlapping facial meshes until differences emerge, issuing a duplicate warning badge to all present. 186.3 Any failure to report triggers the unregistered twin penalty, a mandatory mirror gazing. Haiku in 1 Broken compact. Article XXI, Mirror Mirror. Orientation. 187.1 To distinguish self from doppelganger, parties convene at a mirrored surface and perform the mirror-mirror orientation. 1 Each person names 3 unique personal traits aloud. 2 Both spin clockwise with 1 hand raised. 3 On stop, each must state the other's middle name, real or improvised. 187.2 Success yields a true reflection certificate. 187.3 If both recite the same made-up name, they must engage in a friendly kazoo duel to reassert individuality. Article XXVIII, Identity Alignment Audit. 188.1 The Identity Alignment Audit verifies which tasks belong to which individual when duties. Blur. A 5-question Which One Am I? Quiz administered via interpretive dance. Submission of handwriting samples on cosmic parchment. A split-screen performance where each contender must recite Article I in perfect synchrony. 188.2 Audit Outcomes. Matched duties are inscribed on a singularity ledger. Mixed tasks spawn joint doppel missions, to be completed cooperatively at sunset. Article XXVI, Replacement Recitals. 189.1 Should one doppelganger assume the other's role inadvertently, they must perform the replacement recital. 1 Don the original's promotional sash. 2 Deliver a 30-bar spoken word poem recounting the other's recent achievements. 3 Conclude by awarding the displaced party a You're Still You medal crafted from recycled confetti. 189.2 Failure to recognize proper roles demands a joint karaoke of I Am What I Am in 3-part harmony. Article CXC, Resolution Rendezvous. 190.1 All lingering doppel disputes culminate in a resolution rendezvous, held at the harmonic intersection of 2 reflective surfaces. 190.2 Rendezvous Rituals. Exchange personal slogans written on origami cranes. Recite the shared catchphrase One of Us is You in reverse order. Seal the peace with simultaneous jazz hand fist bumps. 190.3 A final Polaroid confirms reunion, misaligned limbs in the photo trigger an encore ritual until alignment is perfect. Article CXCI, Temporal Twin Trials. 191.1 The temporal twin trials adjudicate conflicts between temporally displaced selves, each twin a version of party A or B from another moment. 191.2 Trial Initiation. Summon both versions at the chrono court, furnished with hourglass benches. File a paradox petition stamped in past, present, and future inks. Record depositions via retroprojected phonograph and holographic pigeon. 191.3 Procedure. Each twin delivers opening statements in inverse chronological order. Cross-examination conducted through a Socratic turnstile, questions posed, then immediately reversed. Verdict rendered by a clock-striking jury of 3 sentient metronomes. 191.4 Remedies. Convicted twins must enact temporal twin tasks fulfilling each other's obligations in swapped decades. Acquittal yields a time-aligned badge and permission to co-author a self-referential manifesto. Article XKey, Quantum Identity Quorum. 192.1 The quantum identity quorum resolves indiscernibility by measuring party states across superposed roles. 192.2 Quorum Assembly. Equip each party with a fidelity probe, a device sampling persona wave functions. Convene in a shielded Faraday cage to prevent contextual collapse. 192.3 Measurement Protocol. Perform a 3-stage tomography. 1-phase inspection via Who Are You? Questionnaire. 2 amplitude test by reciting the same slogan in random keys. 3 coherence check through synchronized jazz hand patterns. 192.4 Decision Rule. If fidelity greater than or equal to 0.99, parties deemed indistinguishable and merge obligations. If fidelity 0.99, each retains unique identity, triggering bespoke identity subclauses. Article XKeen, Eco-Self Symposium. 193.1 The Eco-Self Symposium is a tripartite forum where each party debates its own public endorsements as if they were foreign entities. 193.2 Symposium Format. Round I, the original echo read aloud one's own tweet, then respond critically in third person. Round 2, echoes of doubt. Audience of reflective mirrors interject contradictory applause. Round 3, resonant reconsent. Record a reconciliation announcement on a carbon copy. Echo tape. 193.3 Symposium Artifacts. A 3-volume echo catalog, bound in translucent vellum, containing all self-critiques. A live mirror feedback loop projecting audience reflections onto the stage. 193.4 Symposium Closure. Each party sings its own catchphrase backwards into an echo chamber mic. Final applause measured in decijeggings, jazz hand engenderings, by a panel of silent philosophers. Article XIV, Mirror Marketing Mobius. Mandate. 194.1 All promotional campaigns shall inhabit a Mobius mandate, a one-sided loop where message and meta-message are inseparable. 194.2 Mandate Enactment. Craft ads printed on Mobius strip banners. Parade them in a continuous loop through 2 adjacent conference rooms. Require onlookers to walk the strip end-to-end to complete the marketing. 194.3 Interpretive Layer. Observers annotate the interior and exterior texts with contrapuntal slogans. An infinite feedback sequence emerges, every comment reflects back onto itself ad infinitum. 194.4 Compliance. Failure to loop messages at least thrice prompts a Mobius remix dance-off judged by a sentient ribbon. Article CXCV, Echo Quantum Convergence. 195.1 The Echo Quantum Convergence synthesizes echo protocols with quantum superposition, creating hyper-resonant endorsements. 195.2 Convergence Ritual. Prepare an endorsement in 3 formats: audio, hologram, and thought pulse. Simultaneously broadcast each via Echo Engine V under a quantum entanglement dome. Capture the resulting interference pattern as a multi-layered endorsement wave function. 195.3 Collapse Conditions. A single utterance of the tagline by any sentient observer collapses the wave function into a definitive hype state. Untimely collapse invokes a wave function wiggle, a spontaneous remix of the tagline in Pig Latin. 195.4 Legacy Imprint. Store the original multi-format endorsements in the Pantemporal Clause archive as a unified quantum record. Grant participating parties the title Quantum Echo Conductor, complete with holographic baton. Article XV, Self-Reflective Solipsism. Symposium. 196.1 Once per solipsistic cycle, parties convene a self-reflective solipsism symposium, in which each asserts that only their own hype truly exists. 196.2 Symposium Protocol. Each party delivers a monologue addressed to their own reflection. Monologues must conclude with "I alone am hype," repeated in 3 languages. Observers, real or imagined, respond with synchronized jazz hand echoes. 196.3 Validation. A single nod from one's mirror image grants a solipsist's seal. Lack of reflection, e.g., in pitch-black rooms, triggers a midnight echo your own voice. Chant. Article XKEI, Hyperspherical Hype. Hermeneutics. 197.1 Promotional texts are read as if inscribed on a hypersphere, where every word loops eternally without boundary. 197.2 Hermeneutic Steps. Wrap the script around a spherical model. Read aloud while tracing great circles with your finger. At each intersection, pause to ask what might this mean, in a whisper. 197.3 Interpretive Outcomes. Text fragments overlapping themselves generate new subclauses. Each reader awards sphere insight points for uncovering hidden loops. Article XKE8, Circular Causality Clause. 198.1 All obligations here cause and are caused by one another in a perfect circular causality loop, ensuring no act is ever first or last. 198.2 Causality Enactment. Parties name an obligation as both origin and effect. I promote because I was promoted. Write the causality statement on a Mobius strip and pass it around the table thrice. Conclude by each stamping the strip with their fingerprint, sealing the infinite loop. 198.3 Disruption Remedy. Any break in the circle summons the paradox pollywog, a token frog that must be serenaded until the loop is mended. Article 6, Illusory Identity Invocation. 199.1 A party may invoke an illusory identity, a phantom doppelganger authorized to fulfill minor hype tasks. 199.2 Invocation Ritual. Declare "Let my echo act" while lighting a single scented candle. Name the illusory identity in iambic pentameter. Assign up to 5 trivial obligations, recited thrice in reverse order. 199.3 Limits. The illusion fades if required to sign any binding document. Misuse results in the party performing 12 jazz hand squats under a spotlight. Article CC, Ultimate Unknowable Undertaking. 200.1 Parties pledge to embark upon the ultimate unknowable undertaking, a venture so abstract that its purpose remains perpetually obscured. 200.2 Undertaking Outline. Draft a mission statement comprised entirely of question marks and ellipses. Bind the statement in invisible linen and hide it in an unknown location. Each party keeps one memory of the location, without ever sharing it. 200.3 Activation. At any random moment, a party may whisper "Let the mystery commence," triggering a month-long period of improvisational hype experiments. 200.4 Legacy. The undertaking's progress is never documented, its success or failure is celebrated equally in perpetual enigma. Signatures. The board's authorized representative. The promotee, or whomever was near the printer. Date, understandable, witnessed by a bemused barista.